sport's most famous racetracks. The 40th anniversary season of motocross in America rolls on right now from High Point. Round 3 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship coming up next, live on Fuel TV.
We're in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania for round 3 of the 2011 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, the 35th annual running of the Rockstar Energy drink High Point National.
I'd also like to thank the Holbert family.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fuel TV's continuing coverage of AMA Pro Motocross. Jason Wygant, of course, joined by 4-time AMA National Champion Jeff Emig. This 450 class has been exciting through the first 2 rounds of the series. We expect it to get even better today for round 3. We'll give you the big picture storylines that we're watching here in Pennsylvania. First, Chad Reed dominating this tour so far. He has 2 victories through 2 rounds and a large points lead, partially because of the victories and partially because of bad luck for last year's series champion Ryan Dungey. He led our last race in Texas, but the bike quit. He couldn't make it to the finish line. He's facing a big points deficit to Reed. And what about Ryan Villopoto, big series favorite coming into this series, however, struggling to the first 2 rounds. A bounce back perhaps today. He was fastest in qualifying. So we turn it over to you, Jeff Emig. 2 different racetracks at the beginning of the year, 1 in California, 1 in Texas. Now we move to the East Coast in Pennsylvania for the first time. Is this the type of track that can change the luck for some of the riders in this series?
Well, for Ryan Villopoto, he's counting on that. And this is a fun track for the riders. It's a little less physical. You can use your technique. The bike coasts a little bit better because it's hard pack. You know, it's not so soft where it's pulling the bike down. But I'm telling you, Reed, Dungey, extremely fast. But there's a lot of riders throughout qualifying today. It was kind of mixed up. So you just never know who it's going to be that's going to come here to Mount Morris and have it just be their day.
All right, well, that's going to be interesting. We're about to go racing, but first, let's send it down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Aaron Bates, on the starting line.
2 rounds in the book for these guys, and they've had a weekend off. They are rested up and ready to go. And just when Kevin Windham was rested, Kevin, you ended up taking a crash during that first lap of second practice. Handlebar to the gut. How are you feeling lining up today?
Oh, I'm doing all right. You know, it's been fun being out here, being a part of Nationals. Looks like I'm going to call it in after Budds Creek, but it's been great to ride for Honda again and the Geico team. Hopefully we can find a podium with just a couple of rounds for me in the outdoors left.
Best of luck to you today. And a gentleman who made his mark in Texas, Christian Craig. Christian, what a performance you had out there. What did you take away from that performance that you're going to apply here today at High Point?
Yeah, just running up front. I got the experience to do that, and you know, I'm just going to try to do it again in first moto and hopefully do it in second moto now too.
Best of luck to you. And last but not least, we've got Ryan Dungey lining up. Ryan, take us through the disappointment of Texas. Obviously, you've regrouped. What do you do to mentally put that behind you and come out?
Really just put it behind. You know, it was one of them deals. You know, we're out front and had a little bit of a failure, but you know, team's doing a great job. Everybody's working hard, so it don't happen again. So. I think it's just we got to take from it and keep moving forward.
Best of luck to you today. And Chad Reed makes it 2 for 2 already this season. You come in here, Chad, you know that all of these guys after a weekend off are fired up and ready to take you down. What did you do during your time off to prepare for this?
Prepare so they can't take me down. So, you know, we had a good weekend off. It was Ellie's birthday, so we celebrated that. And I would have liked to have kept racing. You know, I was on a bit of a roll there and feeling good, but I feel like we're still in good place. So get a good start today and try to do what we've been doing, you know, stay out of trouble and put some good laps together.
I taught you how to kiss like a French person.
Big talk, big sports, big tunes. The Daily Habit is the wildest late-night party on television. Weeknights at 11 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. Welcome back to High Point Raceway, round 3, the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. And we'll give you an idea of what motocross racing is all about if you're new to the sport. Here's the 411 on MX. Going to run 2 motos out here today, and that is key. You have to be consistent throughout the race afternoon. 40 riders in each moto, and each race lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. And we'll take the scores from both to determine an overall winner. The tiebreaker goes to the better score in Moto 2. So that's the race breakdown. Now we'll show you the track map. Jeff, give us an idea of what High Point has in store.
Well, High Point has a lot of elevation changes, and the soil is pretty hard packed. So there's only a few square edge bumps here and there, not like the consistent bumps that we've seen in the first 2 rounds. A lot of big jumps. This big hip jump double right there is massive, okay? Triple step up right here. Big drop offs come up and down. make this ride. You really get a chance to wind it out. A few rhythm sections as you head up to the finish line, and then hit that finish line jumping a long straight onto the mechanics area, and of course the uphill triple right behind the start gate, a classic obstacle.
Riders on the starting line getting ready to attack this racetrack. We had a chance to talk to a bunch of them about what it's like to go fast, try to win here at High Point Raceway in the hills of Pennsylvania.
High Point's the first East Coast track that has the weather into it. It seems like it's always really wet and rainy, and it ruts up. The dirt's really sticky, and the first 2 races don't have conditions like that.
It seems like the start's pretty cool because it's so steep up the hill, and then on top of that, it's, you know, a lot of times it rains there, so it's definitely one of my favorite, and I think it's, you know, it's definitely a favorite of a lot of the riders.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get at High Point. It could either rain, it could be really dry and hard packed, slippery. You just don't really know, but as far as the conditions and the way they design the track, they do a fantastic job in A+ performance.
You know, Mount Morris doesn't get called Mud Morris for nothing. You know, the potential of rain. Probably the biggest thing there is the dirt. It's probably the first race of the year where the roost really, really hurts. You know, you got a lot of uphill, so, you know, you're always kind of going into it.
They always seem to switch it up each and every year, so it's always something a little bit different. So, but the rain definitely plays a big factor there, being on the East Coast. But you know, it makes for some great racing and do a great job.
Well, Jeff Emig, you've won twice here in your racing career, so talk about Mount Morris a little bit.
Yeah, but I didn't have to race a 450 here, and you notice Reed talk about how bad the roost hurts. That's because it's hard-packed clay. There is weather possibly later on today. We talked about the riders saying that, but they all really enjoy coming here. And as you take a look here, see this clay, you see the dozer marks down through there. Earlier in practice, there was one fast line, and now it's really dried up. The riders can use the whole track. It's relatively smooth compared to the first 2 rounds.
Now, the top of the show, we mentioned some of the favorites coming in, Dungey, Reed, Villopoto. We talked to Kevin Windham. But how about one to watch today? Fuel TV's camera's going to be focused on this man, the number 12, Tommy Hahn, out of Kansas. You know what it's like to come out of that neck of the woods, Jeff. You're a Kansas native yourself. What's he got to do this year? He's been building and building, getting better every week.
Be consistent. He's been strong, he's been fast, and he's cracked the top 10. But just to build on that, and this is the type of track where if you get to start and you get out there and you learn the pace, that you can have a really good race, and it's a little less physical than other tracks. So I look for Tommy to have a really good ride today.
Okay, let's send it down to Aaron for another report. Aaron?
It's the first time we've seen the number 800 of Mike Alessi since the first lap of second practice at Hangtown when he took that vicious crash. He's had a concussion. He has been off for quite some time, and he was just cleared actually after second practice today from the neurologist that he would be able to ride. He's practiced a little bit this week, limited amount of time on the bike, but they finally confirmed that he is able to line up, and as you see, he's on the gate.
Yeah, not only struggling with the concussion, but he had a shoulder injury from a crash a couple of days ago. But look at this crash from Hangtown, Jeff.
Yeah, and I talked to him earlier today, and he explained the crash that just a few corners before that, the right foot peg had a bunch of mud stuck in it, and so that was the cause of the crash. He couldn't get his right foot back on the peg. But Mike looked awesome here today. Great to see him back. He was super fast in practice, and on this type of track is once again where he can come back. If he gets one of those classic hole shots, patented hole shots, he can run away with this thing.
Yeah, the hole shot, that's getting to the first turn first, and that has always been the specialty of the number 800 of Mike Alessi, one of the best starters, if not the best, that we've ever seen come through the ranks. There is Ryan Dungey. Does not have the red background on his number plate anymore. Switching to the white because he is no longer sharing the points lead in this series. Chad Reed has the red. He's the points leader. Let's go racing at High Point.
Couple of riders outside of just out of the gate, went down. Another rider on the outside.
Hits a fence. That might have been Craig. Meanwhile, white plate and all, Ryan Dungey seizes the lead. He's got the 14 to wait him, and the number 2 Villopoto behind him. Mistake by Dungey. Villopoto to the lead instantly.
Yeah, it looked like Dungey hit that rut, and possibly the mud knocked his bike out of gear, and he slams it back in gear with his left heel. But that's going to allow Ryan Villopoto. This is the type of start that he needed to get this championship chase back on the right track for him.
Look at Alessi starting 4th and going after Windham. So the 800 going to try to put the KTM into 3rd, and he does. Nice comeback here for Alessi. Not the patented Alessi hole shot, but a good start nonetheless.
And already you can see the roost. You'll notice here today the guys are going to zigzag, kind of get out of the way of the rider in front of them. See Wyndham choosing a different line because this roost, I'm telling you, it blasts you, and it will practically knock you off the bike at times if you get that big burst. It just
well, Wyndham got
really
one first from Alessi as they crisscrossed down the hill. Villopoto trying to get away. Dungey second. Alessi, there he is on the number 800 in third, riding the 450cc KTM this year. Ran the smaller 350cc bike last year. Going back to the 450, and this really his first chance to show us what he has on it since he hasn't raced so far this year.
I'm surprised that Alessi got the start that he did, because it looked like there were a number of riders that actually jumped the gate, or maybe the gate malfunction. Look right in this area here, and watch when the gate drops. Wow. Alessi actually got over the gate, and I'm sorry, it was the other rider about 4 to the inside that looped out off the start. So that makes me think, Jason, that the gate might have flinched and the riders went, a rider like Mike Alessi, and hit the front wheel on his way across the gate because the gate wasn't down yet.
So there is Alessi in third, Wyndham in fourth. We've got a battle on our hands. Christian Craig apparently did not go down in the first turn. He just made a move, and I think he has put himself into the number 5 spot, battling it out with Ricky Dietrich. Villopoto not even in your shot right now because he has taken off. Alessi, Wyndham still battling for third and fourth, hooking back onto the start straight.
Yeah, this is one of those sections where if the guy in front of you is on the inside, the roost is going to the outside, and you can't get any further to the inside. And it's tough. It hurts going through there, I'm telling you.
Aaron, what do you have on Ryan Dungey?
Well, if you guys notice, he put his hand up and he was trying to wave to get the AMA officials' attention to try to wait for the race to go, but considering live TV, they have to let it go. It was nothing mechanical. What ended up happening, it was the bolt broke in the middle of his visor, so the visor is actually flapping down in his eyes right now. We'll see if it holds him back whatsoever.
Oh, you can see that, Jeff. It's pointed straight up.
Yeah, look at his visor here, this tight shot. See how high the visor is? You can see his name, Dungey, under there, the vents and all that, and you normally can't see that, so that visor's tipped all the way up on that helmet.
Maybe he just wanted to make sure.
Too often.
He just wanted to make sure we could tell what his name was. Show that logo off. He's running in second, but Villopoto putting a little distance on already in the first lap, about 3.5 seconds. This is the kind of speed we expected from Villopoto. Here's Dungey on the one, trying to run him down.
Yeah, and back to that visor thing, the riders typically run it pretty high, but as you can see right now, it's extremely high. And what that'll do is, if he was able to close up on the back of Villopoto, you actually use your visor, you dip your head to keep the roost from hitting your goggles and also from hitting you in the chest and neck area. And with that higher, it's not going to be as effective as what it would be. But I mean, we're talking, small difference.
All right, Jeff, big difference here for Ryan Villopoto from rounds 1 and 2 and what we're seeing early here at High Point. He did actually lead a few laps at our opener in California, but he didn't open up a lead like this. This is impressive for only a lap and a half.
Well, you get to start here, and you can see how, I mean, if you've watched the first 2 rounds, you know that it's just been bumpity-bump all the way through, right? And you can see there's a lot of man-made obstacles here, but for all of these bumps were man-made. For the most part, the track is just smooth and fast right now. So a guy like Villopoto can use his technique, get out there, ride a clean race, and he's, the chassis setup might not be as critical for this moto, at least at the start here, than what it might be later on when the track gets rough.
So the rest of the top 5 go by. That includes Alessi third, Wyndham fourth on the 14, the 144 of Craig in fifth. And we got a battle behind that. Chad Reed, our series points leader, we finally found him. You'll see him here in a moment, going after Jake Weimer for the number 6 spot. There's Weimer on the green bike, the 32, and there is Reed on the TwoTwo Motorsports Honda, 6th. Not where Reed wants to be early on. In fact, actually challenging Weimer for 6th. They were side by side for a moment. So Reed's got some work to do, Jeff.
Well, and that's the thing, is you can see on the back of Reed's jersey, Reed actually is running the red 2-2 on the back of his jersey, which signifies the points leader. So taking it to the next level, that he is the points leader. But he's going to have to make some moves. And right now, he needs to get comfortable, start to find some new lines, find some passing places on the track, and try not to take that roost, because it really defeats you mentally by getting roosted constantly. Okay, so you got to find these lines to see how he went inside, outside, and he'll go back across right here if he gets the opportunity. And right there, he was riding on the edge of the line, if you will. He wasn't, there's kind of a groove, and if you get too far outside, it's still wet and soggy in those spots, but Chad really riding the edges there.
And the 18 of Davi Millsaps, Muscle Milk Toyota Yamaha, he is hitched a ride with Reed to the front, and they're both going to challenge Weimer now. There's Weimer, Reed, Millsaps. That is 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Millsaps had such a fantastic ride at round 2, and this is going to be quite a bit different track here. It's not going to be as physical and rough as it was, so have to rely more on technique and speed. Millsaps is, plenty capable of that. He qualified 7th here today, but not getting the start. And we heard some of the riders talking about how important the gate was here to get out of the first turn, and these riders are going to be battling it the whole time.
Talked to the suspension guru Johnny O there for the Joe Gibbs racing team that Millsaps rides for, and they said that on this track they soften up the front suspension and then they had to soften the back to match it, so the bike riding a little lower than it would at some of the other tracks. There's Ricky Dietrich. We mentioned him a couple times this year, the converted off-roader. Used to ride in the desert, the rocks, the hills. Now racing motocross and doing a great job. Top 10 right now in 9th.
Well, it was, it was interesting, the conversation we had with him, Jason, about how he said, I cannot wait to get to Southwick, where it's sandy and rough and all that. So for Ricky, this may be the type of track that is more challenging for him than the rougher tracks. And so he's going to have to learn as they go each moto, trust the technicians and everybody on the team to help him with the bike setup and really get it dialed in. But so far, so good, running inside the top 10.
And you've got Andrew Short putting pressure on him from the number 10 spot, and Brett Metcalfe on the Suzuki behind them. You can just see the yellow fender popping through in 11th. You're about to drop down into the valley of this track.
Man, and how about the blast of mud that Andrew Short took right there, coming down that first off camber.
And Short's going to tuck it inside, and then Dietrich actually cut it a little bit tighter to make sure Short could not make the pass.
Watch the rider's body language. You can tell with Short, he has ducked his head and turned his head to the side 2 or 3 times here just since we've had him on camera.
And he is right in the kill zone there from that roost, right behind that rear wheel. Rocks, mud, everything else being thrown his way.
Let's see if he can use the inside. Not quite quick enough, but Andrew Short, of course, riding the KTM 350 and a little less power and stuff, and so he's going to have to find different passing spots.
No one finding a passing spot around Ryan Villopoto right now. He is pulling away early at High Point. Stay with us.
Chaos, the daily half.
Got some great racing going on here. Fuel TV's live coverage. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross racing from Pennsylvania. Chad Reed on the red bike with the red number, able to get around the 144 of Christian Craig. So that will move Reed, your series points leader, one step further. Davi Millsaps been following Reed through traffic all day long, and he makes the move around Craig as well. So Jake Weimer just out of the shot. He is 5th. Reed is 6th. Then it is Millsaps 7th, and then Craig pushed back to 8th. Jeff Emig, take us through this pass.
Watch the left side here as Reed goes to the inside of Craig. Craig makes a little mistake, loses his drive, and you can tell right here Reed was like, I'm doing whatever it takes to get past because I've been following this guy. I'm definitely faster than him, and just was really taking some roots. You can see now that they have passed Craig. He's dropped back a few bike lengths. Millsaps was able to capitalize on that and move past very quickly too. So for Christian Craig, needs to stay confident, not lose his focus right now, try to learn these riders' lines here because they got a little bit more speed than he has.
Weimer has done a good job quietly. There he is on the green bike, has come through this. He had Reed on his rear wheels a couple of laps ago, but he was able to get through Craig and then open up some distance while Reed struggled to make that pass. So we'll see if Reed can hit the reset button and go after Weimer again, try to get into the top 5. Here's Millsaps right behind that battle.
Yeah, and see those jump sections that they have through there, rhythm sections, uphill and uphill triple here where Craig's at right now. You hammer the throttle, get on it, and then they've also added some drop-offs. And then you come, this is one of my favorite sections. There's an off-camber turn right here, and so you're trying to turn the bike left, but the track is falling away to the right. So it's really important that you put weight on the right peg, the outside peg. Even though you can't necessarily see it with the riders, they're very, lightly adding pressure to the right peg to help get traction in the tires.
I'm going to assume that whatever this guy's doing, he's doing it the right way. Ryan Villopoto, 8.2-second advantage. You see the countdown clock at the top of the screen. It's a 30-minute moto, so we're not even quite to the halfway point. But
I think it's safe to say we've got a different Ryan Villopoto on our hands. I know it's early in the race, early in the weekend, but this is some serious speed from the number 2, more of the type of riding we expected coming into this year.
Yeah, and it appeared to me at the first 2 rounds that Ryan just could not get comfortable. Now, at Freestone, he had a good qualifying lap, but in the races, just was not clicking with the motorcycle. Since then, we've had the weekend off. He's had the opportunity to possibly test, to possibly recover, rest some, get his thoughts together, and get the mojo working, like I like to say, and he's flying. I mean, they are way out front right now. Alessi's a good 28 seconds behind Dungey.
Now we're going to try to find the third place battle. You have Mike Alessi and Kevin Windham. There they are. Alessi on the 800, the orange bike. Had a little pressure from Windham about a lap ago and has extended it just a little bit, probably about 10 bike lengths between them.
Look at that hip jump. That double is massive right there.
That's like something you guys find out in the hills for fun. And they put it on a racetrack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Windham, it's been back and forth between these two. They're at different stages of the season right now. At the beginning of our show, Windham said he's probably going to race next week in Maryland, and that'll be it for him this summer. He's really only a replacement rider for a couple of Honda boys who are injured, Trey Canard and Josh Grant. As for Alessi, this is his first race of the year, and he hopes to be a factor by the time this season is over, trying to win some of these. Here is Weimer, Reed closing the gap on him.
Well, he's starting to close up, trying some different lines, but you can see as you get into that inside rut, I mean, the bumps are huge in there. You've seen his TwoTwo Motorsports Honda just bouncing around, and it's these type of sections, once again, where you're trying to stay out of the line. See how he cut real tight, and then he'll zigzag back across to the left to try to stay out of the roost in front of you. I mean, it just cannot be underestimated what effect that has on the rider. And so this is why you got to find some fast lines and try to be quicker than the rider in different spots, and remember that for next lap around. And if you say, okay, this is my passing spot, you really have to close up on the back of the rider, okay? And you may have to suck it up for a couple of turns so that you're close once you get to that passing spot next lap around. But right now, Weimer, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from his ride. He's putting on the best ride here that we've seen this year, and he looks really comfortable.
Weimer, this is his first year in this 450 division, and here is Reed putting pressure on. Aaron, what do you have on the 32, Jake Weimer?
Well, guys, some riders took some time off. Jake Weimer did not take any time off during the break. In fact, he said he rode more than normal. He did train. They did a lot of testing on the suspension settings, so they made some major gains. So he's really happy with what came about at the practice track. This is where he got his first outdoor podium as well in 2008. So he said mentally coming in here, he looks forward to it. It's definitely a boost for his confidence.
Well, you can tell that his confidence is up, and as a team, you know, Monster Energy Kawasaki definitely having a good day with both riders, but he's got his hands full with the rider who has been on fire all season long.
Reed gonna try it. Gonna be the outside for this hip jump. Switches back to the inside. They're in the same spot. Oh, Reed came up short. That's gonna hurt. And then finds the low line. Still can't make the pass. Man, and then another face full of roost. Back to Reed.
Yeah, and there's some of these lines, like right here, you just funnel into the main line, and there really is no way to get out of that. Now watch, see, Reed went through a bunch of slop right there, thinking that Jake would be more to the right, he could stay to the left. It just didn't work out that way. The track still has got some soft spots from earlier today in practice where it just hasn't dried up. Chad Reed is testing all of those spots out. And remember, in the second moto at Freestone, Chad tried some of these new lines, ended up sticking it in that soft dirt and going down.
Aaron, what do you have on Chad Reed and his bike setup?
Chad's extremely happy with his bike setup today, but his mechanic, Lars Lindstrom, he said the only thing that they've been playing with throughout the day is tires, trying to find any additional traction. But the problem is, with this track here at High Point, it changes so much throughout the day. It's extremely slippery, but yet it's hard packed underneath. These guys are trying to find that perfect medium, and as long as the rain holds off, so far Chad Reed said he likes the tire. We'll see what he says after this moto.
Well, and it's interesting, I spoke with fellow Australian rider Michael Byrne, who is running 12th in this moto. and I took a look at his bike. I said, okay, what tire choice you're going with? Now, are you going to go with a big, knobby sand mud tire for the start, which you have to get to start, or a tighter, knobby pattern with more edges to work on that works good on the track? It's a balance, and he says, I'm taking the risk, and I'm going with the soft terrain tire with the big knobs for the start.
And Byrne, I got a decent start. He's 12th right now. Millsaps, Weimer, Reed, great battle here, going for a piece of the top 5. Fans are fired up watching this one. Stay with us.
Since I was a kid, I've been fascinated with bikes.
Watch the best Kung Fu cult classic films only on Fuel TV. Next Saturday, it's the premiere of Executioners from Shaolin, late night at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific.
I'm not going to miss that.
No, it's perfect. We'll have a race in Maryland, and then Saturday night when we're done, check that out. Reed put pressure on Weimer, but seems like he has about a lap or so of attack, and then hangs back a little bit. Is that the roost? Is that the lines? Is that the pace? What's the strategy here for Reed?
I'm going to give her credit where credit's due, and Jake Weimer, he's riding fantastic. 2:14.5 right there. You see Reed has the ability to go a little bit quicker, but Jake has just been strong, and I believe that they're catching up to Wyndham a little bit here too. He's just about 3 seconds out.
And then Wyndham about 3 seconds away from Alessi. So any of these riders you're looking at, Weimer on the green bike, the red machine of Reed, and then the blue of Millsaps, they have a chance to go for the podium. You get Alessi 3rd, there's Wyndham in 4th in the 14, and here comes that trio. Looks like another attack from Reed here.
Yeah, and as the moto goes on, Jason, we have 8 minutes plus a couple laps left. You see now physical fitness is coming in, belief. All of a sudden, Chad's starting to get his lines down here. They're going to hit some lapped riders. If I'm Chad Reed, I'm thinking podium. I need that 3rd, and it's time to wick it up. And he has had the ability so far in this championship that if he wants to drop his lap time and just really lay it down and put a hot lap in, he can do that.
Well, Reed knew he had a problem last year when he would get to this point of the moto where he normally is at his best and is able to overcome riders who are starting to get fatigued. Last year, he just didn't have that punch, and he felt something was wrong. It took about 8 races into the series where he realized it was a serious medical problem. He had chronic fatigue syndrome, Epstein-Barr, dropped out of the series to heal up. It's a totally different rider this year.
Well, he's about to get a punch, and he definitely has a problem here because just as he's trying to put the move on Weimer, Millsaps is on the gas right now.
Yeah.
The muscle milk is kicking in, right?
And Reed's leading the series, so if you're Millsaps, you make a pass on him. This is a serious step forward. Millsaps all the way on the outside there. Now, I talked to one of the team managers after practice, and they say you got, pardon my English here, but he said there's 2 lines on the track. You have the middle of the track, that's the good dirt, and the outside of the track, which is like riding through snot. That's the problem when you try to make passes on this track. I'm just quoting one of the team managers, but that's where Millsaps has to go right now to make passes.
Yeah, but Millsaps has an advantage on the other riders right now. He's one of the few riders that, see the white hand guards on his handlebars right there. In this situation, when you get hit with the roost and the rocks and stuff on your hands, what we've been talking about this whole moto, if you have those hand guards on, it really deflects that. And so it takes some of that sting and that ouch away, so it will allow him to close up on the back of a rider, ride in the fast line for a bit if he has to, and it just basically won't hurt his back.
Well, then I got to ask, why isn't everyone running them?
I don't know.
Really? Is it a style, superstition, not comfortable thing? Like,
I don't know.
Is there a function?
Personally, there were times where I said, look, I'm going to get the whole shot. Don't even worry about putting those things on.
Really?
But there was some, hey, in that defense, it might be a little cocky right now, but I'm telling you, there were also some days, you know, where I'm like J-Bone or Steve, whoever my mechanic was, you better put the guards on because I'm not feeling it today, and I'm just hoping for a top 10.
Well, your old mechanic J-Bone is now the team manager for Millsaps.
Jeremy Albrecht.
Jeremy Albrecht. And he said, you're running those handguards, like it or not. And this is impressive. Millsaps is actually closer to Reed now than Reed is to Weimer. Weimer's going after Wyndham. It's a 4-rider battle for the number 4 spot.
Yeah, and earlier in the moto, we talked about his bike, how they softened up the front suspension, had to soften the rear because of it. You look at both. Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, to the inside, a mistake by Reed. I don't know if Millsaps is ready to attack right there, but he's got the opportunity. Gonna have a left-hand sweeper and then another one of those off-camber turns. See the track leans one way and the turn goes the other.
Yellow flags. We've got a lap rider down. All 3 riders clean. Let's see if Millsaps gets back to the inside.
He did. Not quite enough running room to make the pass there. Now we're going to jump downhill. Really easy to go too fast down through this section and not make the corner. Millsaps, here he goes, Jeff.
Maybe around the outside. It was a little wetter line, but right now he's going to have to funnel right back in. But he really is charging hard. He has got aggressive. He's trying to make the move here on Reed. Let's see if he cuts to the inside. It's a nice smooth line, but not enough. More lapped riders for Weimer.
And Weimer, oh, Weimer sideways and off the racetrack and down. Almost had the line to make the pass on Wyndham on the 14. Not a hard crash, but with the Pac-Man, he's going into a wall.
Yeah, he actually angled it into the wall there, but they were trying to get past the lapped rider. Him and Wyndham were both in the line. Still a great ride for Weimer, just a big mistake. He's going to be a little bit disappointed. And let's go back and take a look at this. See, there's the lapped rider, and he comes up a little short. Gets a little swap right there and just gently lays it down into the embankment. One more look. It could have, if he had high-sided and his weight gone forward, that's when you really get slapped down. Plus, there was another jump in his way, so most of the time the rider makes a sudden stop, and that doesn't feel too good.
Man, Weimer was leading Reed and Millsaps most of this race, only a few minutes to go, and then loses the spot. And in the meantime, Millsaps has made the pass on Chad Reed. Couple of stories when you watch there. The struggle for Reed, who had won the last 3 motos of this tour, and the sudden charge of Davi Millsaps, who just jumped clear across the racetrack, trying to get an inside line on Wyndham.
I'm telling you, we talk about Wyndham being silky smooth, but right now, Millsaps has got the mojo working, and you watch how he's scrubbing the jumps, triples in, gets on the brakes, still hits the corner and exits to the inside.
Look
he
at
is
this!
Just manualing it.
These are not even areas you normally see passes made, and he's made 2 of them.
Okay, remember what I talked about earlier about weighting the outside peg and really forcing your weight into that outside of the bike to dig the tires in. That's a technique that both Wyndham and Millsaps are extremely good at, of using their leverage and their bodies that way. And on those off cambers, when he made the pass, I mean, that's exactly what he did. He just dug in the tires on that Yamaha and just drew a tighter line than Wyndham could hold.
So Millsaps on the 18 is in 4th. Wyndham on the 14 is 5th. Reed on the 22 is 6th. And it's getting desperation time now for Reed, who's got to make up some ground to make up some points. As Ryan Dungey and Ryan Villopoto, guys who's battling for this championship, are getting away from him. There goes Reed to the inside on Wyndham, and he makes the pass. That was the same spot where Weimer went down the last time around.
Well, urgency set in. Chad Reed, 22. He is still battling here on this red Honda.
But Ryan Villopoto checking out. We're about 2 minutes away from the 2-lap warning here at High Point. I don't know if anyone's going to stop Villopoto today. Coverage of the High Point National, brought to you by Rockstar Energy Drink. Lots of ups and downs on this track in Pennsylvania, and that's kind of the way this series has gone for Villopoto. Coming into the year, everyone thought, well, here's your favorite. He just won the indoor Supercross title. Whenever he's been healthy outdoors, he's won a championship. So he came in on an up note. Not quite the performances he wanted through the first 2 rounds with a couple of 3rd-place finishes. But he has rebounded today, and he is back up front.
Yeah, he just didn't look like himself those first 2 rounds. Heard that he was sick a bit, fighting illness, trying to recover. And when you start the championship off with a couple of really physical tracks, hot conditions, it's really hard to recover. But it's obvious with last weekend off that Villopoto has done that, and he is fired up here.
Go back to Davi Millsaps here in the number 18. Muscle Milk Toyota Yamaha. He has pulled away again from Chad Reed. Millsaps is in 4th. In front of him is Mike Alessi, Ryan Dungey, and Villopoto, who you saw our leader. Chad Reed, 5th. And that's not where Chad Reed, the series leader, wants to be. He's got to at least be on the podium in these motos and would like to, of course, be winning them. But that's going to be tough. Villopoto is on his game today. Dungey 2nd. Had a little bit of a problem with the equipment, not the bike, but his helmet visor early in this moto. Still going to try to hang on for a 2nd-place finish. And Alessi, we haven't talked much about him. He is in 3rd in his first race of the year after knocking himself out at your opener in California a couple of weeks ago. But Villopoto So the real comeback story right now, and at the beginning of our day, we were talking with the staff about, you know, what would be the story, and we said you really got to watch Villopoto race to know what the story is going to be. If he has another distant third-place finish, you're going to have to start wondering, is he below par? Is he not up to speed? But that's apparently not the story. He's back up to speed. And the 5:39 going a lap down. That was Ricky Dietrich, who was 5th early in this race, Jeff.
Yeah, definitely having some sort of problem. Dietrich's running back in 15th, but as you can see for Villopoto, when you're on, you're on. You're just, it seems like you're just always in the right gear. You've got the RPMs right. You just hit every jump perfect. And this is, Ryan's going to come off the track and go, yeah, you know, that was a pretty easy race. No big deal.
Would he even be tired riding like this?
Probably not. I mean, physical conditioning, you know, he's in as good a shape as anyone out there, and he has an efficient technique, okay? So in setting the fastest lap times and leading this race by 8.7 seconds, he gets into a groove where he does it with relative ease, and that's what's important about your technique and everything in motocross, is that you have 2 motos throughout the day. So you don't want to just go for broke in the first race, you know, tire yourself out to where your energy levels are depleted and you have nothing left for the second moto. So it's a real combination of knowing how to manage both motos, and right now he's managing the competition with relative ease.
Talked to his trainer, Alden Baker, and they said at Hangtown, Villopoto was so sick that in between the motos, trying to recover, he had to sleep and get in bed with a duvet cover over him because he was chilled that bad. He was running a high fever, so as soon as the race were over, he would have to get a blanket on him, even though it was about 80 degrees that day. He's obviously feeling a lot better now.
Well, and we do have a beautiful day of racing here, southern Pennsylvania, and there were some threatening thunderstorms in the area earlier. Sun's out, thousands of fans here. It's been a great day. Everyone seems to be really excited, as you know, as we are here. But you just never know what Mother Nature is going to get you here. Second moto will be about 2.5, 3 hours away after the finish of this.
Yeah, things can change in a hurry. We had some great weather here yesterday, and then the same thing. All of a sudden, clouds rolled in, and we had a deluge for about 20 minutes. So that can change everything quickly. Villopoto, I'm sure, would like to just replicate these conditions because clearly they're working for him.
Yeah, and you talk about changing quickly. I mean, they had last race, Villopoto was just really off of his game.
Right.
Did not look like he was working with the bike together. Just that chemistry was off. But he looks great on the bike. He looks fast, and this is going to be a huge confidence boost for the number 2.
Pretty big points deficit for Villopoto behind Reed right now, but if he keeps riding like this, he can make up some ground. Ryan Villopoto wins his first moto of 2011 in the first moto at High Point Raceway, and I think you just see that sense of relief right there. He's finally back in the type of condition that he expected to be in right at the beginning of the year. There are Ryan Villopoto fans out here. They haven't got to see this guy race in the last couple of years in Pennsylvania due to injury, so they're just glad to see him back.
Was that the situation in there?
Really? Not enough tattoos. It's about as close as we come to the Jersey Shore.
What a ride, though. This is a great feeling because, you know, okay, like you said, sigh of relief, feel good now. He's going to get together with his mechanic and the technicians, everybody on the team, and try to figure out, say, okay, can we make some improvements? We've won this one, but we need to be better yet.
All right, then you got Ryan Dungey just cruised into the Rockstar Energy tent. He'll try to cool off and do the same thing with his mechanic and team, figure out where they can improve for Moto 2, find a way to go after the number 2 in Moto 2. Meanwhile, we'll talk to the winner of Moto 1 when we return.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
welcome back, Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from High Point, Pennsylvania, Rockstar Energy Drink National. We just completed our first moto here today. We'll give you the Lucas Oil race recap, give you an idea of exactly how this broke down. Watch the start. One of the riders, Mike Alessi, got a great jump, or maybe too great of a jump. Get to that later. Ryan Dungey's going to get the whole shot, bunch of riders down, Jeff.
Riders down, but when they came around, it was Villopoto with the lead, and his teammate here, Jake Weimer, goes down, gives up a couple of spots right here, but does not go down hard.
Yeah, Chad Reed had a bad start. It took a while to get going. Your series point leader was struggling just to get into the top 5. He makes a move on Kevin Windham late to do that. But Ryan Villopoto stole the lead from Dungey early and just checked out from there. He wins by 8.5 seconds. I don't think it's too early to say that Ryan Villopoto is back on the pace we expected him to be on at the beginning of the year. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates, who has Ryan Villopoto. Aaron?
I think that's considered a night and day difference for Ryan Villopoto. Ryan, from the first 2 rounds that we saw you at, what was it that you worked on during your break to come out swinging the way you did this first moto?
You know, just we did a lot of testing this last week before this weekend with the shock, just getting it dialed in. You know, we didn't have a whole lot of time to do that right after Supercross, so we did that. Kaipo came down to Florida, we got it dialed in, so just did that, did my motos, and you know, I just can't thank everybody at Monster Energy Kawasaki, Dunlop for the great tires, you know, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Alpha-Star, Oakley, Falcon tires, Volcom, Vans, you know, just everybody, thank you.
Great job of making it back up here on the box.
Kaipo is the suspension engineer there for Kawasaki, and apparently he did his job right. Then Villopoto just rode the bike to victory lane. We'll have more from High Point when we come back. Eastern Pennsylvania's High Point Raceway, Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, live coverage on Fuel TV. Let's show you the results of the first moto, and this is unofficial. Mike Alessi, they determined he jumped the starting gate, and they're still reviewing that. So right now they put Davi Millsaps up to 3rd and pushed Alessi back to 4th. Of course, it's unofficial. They could change it back. We don't know yet. Reed 5th, not where he wanted to be, and the man to watch here in this one, Tommy Hahn. That's a solid run, Jeff.
Solid run. He had to work his way up from about a 15th place start, but inside the top 10.
Give you 11 through 20. Andrew Short was battling for a top 10 spot, ends up in 11th, and Ricky Dietrich, who was battling for a top 5 early, finishes in 17th. Roll 21 through 30, and here's the rest of the field. Corey Green, Jeff Gibson, a couple of arena cross guys trying some motocross today. 31st and 32nd. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates, who has Ryan Dungey, our runner-up.
Ryan Dungey experiences problems before the gate even drops. Ryan, you were having issues with your visor out there. How much did that affect your run?
A little bit, you know, my visor, the bolt came out of the top, it ended up breaking, and you know, when there's nothing in the middle, the wind catches it, and the speeds these days are so fast, but no excuses, you know, got off to a pretty good start, and rode some good laps, came in 2nd, but I think it make a few little changes for the second moto. Team Rockstar and Suzuki running great, and I'm excited, it'll be good.
Great job during Moto 1, best of luck Moto 2.
Okay, now also on the podium is Mike Alessi, because he did cross the line in 3rd place, but Jeff will give a replay here and take us through exactly what happened. Alessi's known for his great reaction times off the start, but this one might have been too good.
Yeah, watch the left of your screen right here. The gate didn't look like it flinched. It just looked like that he left a little early, and he actually ripped the gate off. And because what happens when this horseshoe flies up right there and it catches on the forks, he just ripped it all the way off.
All right, let's send it down to Aaron with the number 800. Aaron?
I just informed Mike Alessi of what took place, but Mikey did get docked that position from jumping the gate, but what a start it was taking the start gate with you. How are you feeling coming back, and what does this do for your confidence knowing that you have the speed to run with these guys your first race back?
Yeah, it feels good. I just want to have a good second moto. Like I said, I'm sure they show in the replay from my crash at Hangtown in practice. It was pretty bad, and yeah, I'm just lucky to be safe and not injured and not worse. Maybe, you know, maybe killed. I mean, I'm just glad to be here and representing my sponsors, Red Bull, KTM, and all the sponsors that I have, Aero, Alpine Star Gear, X Brown Goggles, Rockwell watches, and just all my doctors back home, and just everybody who's been able to get me back into racing shape and back here at the races and doing what I love to do and being here to put on a great show for the fans. Thank you again.
You still have anything left in you to go after these guys for Moto number 2?
I hope so. I just got to get a start. The first couple laps I got arm pump, and I needed to settle into a pace, and that's what I did. I didn't want to ride over my head. Roger told me before the race, just ride my pace. If you guys are faster, they're gonna get around you, so just ride your own pace, and that's what I did. And luckily ended up 3rd, but I guess I got docked because of the start. It's you know, misfortune that happened, but I just want to thank all the fans again, and I look forward to battling with the best racers in the world, the second moto, and do the best I can.
Congratulations on a great comeback ride.
Big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habit is the wildest late-night party on television. Weeknights, 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. Again, that is still unofficial as far as Alessi definitely getting penalized. We'll try to find out later in the show. We will have a 250 moto coming up next, so we might have a little time to investigate that. Right now, they're showing us with Davi Millsaps in 3rd. Got a couple cool things coming up on the show as well. This is the 40th running of this Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Tour. So we're going to go back in history and talk about one of the great personalities in the history of this sport. Tony DiStefano, a Pennsylvania native. Jimmy Weiner, the jammer. This is going to be a great show as we talk about some of the great battles of the past here at High Point. We'll have that when we return.
Well, it's a glorious...
Big crowd on hand here for round 3 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. If they have good memories, they may remember Pennsylvania's own Tony DiStefano taking this series by storm in the late 1970s. And some highlights of a battle of him, Jimmy Weinert.
The 1970s were not the time to be a motocross racer from the East Coast, especially if you wanted to get noticed by the factories, making it that much tougher for the young privateer.
In those days, you were either from California or you really weren't a player. So to get an Italian kid on a CZ from Pennsylvania that nobody had ever heard from to come out of nowhere and start going really fast was kind of a shock. His greatest battles were with Jimmy Weiner.
Well, he was a jammer, so he would cut in unexpectedly.
All of a sudden, Weiner comes flying in. I'm watching. I can just see the bikes come in. Tony D comes in and just whammo.
He jammed under me, and unbelievable by looking at that photo, he fell. I think he thought he could maybe push Tony around a little bit and found out that that Italian had a lot of pasta in him and he was hard to move.
That's why he was 220 pounds and I was 155. He had all kinds of traction and old Jammin' Jimmy kept him alive. But we would bang and clang and ritter in a shadow and it didn't really matter because Tony D, I think it was hard of hearing because he kept ramming me too.
Yeah, we're celebrating all season long 40 years of this tour. Not only great battles between Tony D and the Jammer, but many other great battles in history, and the bikes, too, that we bring to every race as part of our Legends and Heroes tour. Stuff goes way back even before Jeff Emig's day. 250 class racing coming up next on Fuel TV. Stay with us. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship rolls on Fuel TV. Part of Ally, the Alliance of Action Sports. Lots of fans here gathered on the hillsides of High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. We've completed our 450 Moto 1. Let's move into the 250 class and give you the big picture storylines that we're following coming into this first moto. First, the pro circuit, Kawasaki juggernaut continues. Blake Baggett, Tyler Rattray, Dean Wilson, they've been winning the races this year. They're leading the points. Very impressive performance what the boys in green have done thus far in 2011. So that leads us to the question, what about the Geico Honda team that is normally up there challenging them? Well, while this man, Dean Wilson, is leading the points on his Kawasaki, where are the Honda boys? They've got two riders that are expected to challenge riders like Wilson and Rattray and Baggett. Here's Rattray, won the overall at our last race at Texas. He is second in points coming in. And the podium, third place went to a Yamaha rider, Kyle Cunningham. So no podium so far for the Geico Honda guys. There's Justin Barsha, and there's Eli Tomac. These two expected to win races. So far, not so good. Blake Baggett, who won our opening round, was fastest in practice today. Is he back? We'll send it down to Aaron Bates to try to find out more. Aaron?
I think he is back, fastest overall today during practice. But Blake, the season started off on the right foot for you, but Freestone did not go as planned. You didn't actually suffer from heat exhaustion. What exactly took place?
I just crashed first motor really big and had a minor concussion, and just took that week off. Good thing there was a week off, and we're ready to do it again.
Rock and roll, get the ball rolling again. And another guy who made the podium was Kyle Cunningham in Freestone. He was a little delirious by the end of the day, but Kyle, you're prepared. You're coming in every weekend. You're getting stronger and stronger, a little bit faster. What is it that you're doing differently?
We're just working hard during the week, trying to keep me a little more hydrated from what went on at Freestone and Hangtown. But, we're looking forward to today. The track's good. The rain's holding off for now, and hopefully we can get out of the gate good again and run up front.
Best of luck to you. And Justin Barsha is looking to make a comeback after Freestone last week. Justin, take us through exactly your weekend off, what you did to prepare for this week, and how is your wrist after your crash?
Yeah, I just relaxed a little bit on the weekend and got back into my training, did a lot of testing up in New Hampshire where Factory Action is located, and got my bike really dialed, really happy with it, and just ready to go race it and try to do my best.
Well, Kyle Cunningham, we had a chance to talk to him earlier. He's going to be our Fuel TV one to watch in this moto, and definitely one to watch on the podium at our last race. Let's see if he can do it again, Jeff.
Yeah, and he's shown some real speed. I mean, all out. If he gets a start here and has the ability to ride some clean laps, he could squirt away from these guys and take his first moto win of his career. But definitely getting better. DNA Shred Sticks Yamaha and the whole team are definitely on an upswing.
Give you an idea of the racetrack that Kyle Cunningham and 39 other riders will race on here. It's track map, High Point Raceway, Jeff.
Okay, for the 250Fs, they're going to labor all the way up to Start Straight here. Lots of off-cameras on this track. The soil is pretty hard-packed clay right now. It's starting to dry out. Some huge jumps and rhythm sections. Got an uphill triple here, and then you come down a drop-off, another off-camber. Start to speed up a little bit through some more rhythm sections. Nice finish line straightaway here. And then, of course, behind the start gate, classic triple jump. Try to jump it and stay to the inside. And that's just to the right of our screen right now in that huge Muscle Milk bottle and the Rockstar can there.
Yeah, right next to that is a big triple. That'll be fun to watch. So we've talked to some of the riders. We looked at the track. We'll give you the 411 in a moment and show you exactly how we race motocross. It's key that you have to be consistent through 2 races throughout an afternoon. And in this class, Jeff, being consistent is not easy to do. There are a lot of young riders out here.
Yeah, being the entry level in the professional ranks, you got quite a bit of talented riders here who are, you know, they not only have the skill set, they're figuring out really for the first times in their career what training and all that stuff is about, but overall just a full amount of talented riders here that have a lot of speed.
So we will run 2 motos and we'll total the scores of both. We'll have 40 riders in each, and each race lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. If you win both of them, you're obviously going to win the overall. If not, and it's mixed up, the better finish in Moto 2 is the tiebreaker to win for the day.
And you can see right in the middle of our screen there, the Rockstar girl. She's got the 30-second board. She puts that up for 30 seconds. Board goes sideways. There's a slight delay, and then drop the gate between 5 and 10 seconds.
Yeah, and if you folks were with us earlier today in our 450 class race, if you try to jump the start, you will run right smack into that starting gate, and that'll either slow you down, stop you altogether, and if you still get through it, they might have to penalize you. So don't jump the start.
Yeah, and that's what happened to Mike Alessi. You're not supposed to be able to go through the gate, but hey, 450 KTM's got some power, I guess.
Well, we know he's always quick out of the gate, so maybe a little too quick that time. So that 30-second card is up. Heart race coming up down the starting line as well, because we're about to go racing at High Point. Will the domination of the Kawasaki riders continue? We got a whole batch of Hondas, including the home track favorite, Darren Durham there on the inside, the number 37. Let's go racing. One of the Hondas going to try to sweep through the inside. Baggett's on the outside of him, but I think it's the 42 of Nico Izzy going to grab the lead, and Durham, as we mentioned, a home track favorite from Pennsylvania, into the number 2 spot. Backed by Morgantown Power Sports to the dealership about 15 minutes from here, and they got their boy running up front. Nico Izzy is a privateer as well, so 2 independent riders not backed by the big OEM manufacturers are 1 and 2.
What great starts here for this pair of Honda riders, and both of these riders have the opportunity to go out and shock the world right now and put on a great ride. Uh-oh, who's that? That was Sipes running in 3rd there, 25 on the blue Yamaha. Got a little squirrely, kept it on 2 wheels though.
And we finally see one of those monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki riders. It's the 28, Tyler Rattray, who won our last race at Freestone in Texas. He is 4th. Blake Baggett, Rattray's teammate, had a good start around the outside, but that line didn't pay off. He has dropped pretty far back now. So Nico Izzy, there is no doubt of Izzy's speed. The question is, can he make it last through 2 long races?
Well, so far so good here. Great start, but I tell you, I'm really excited about the rider that's in 3rd, Ryan Sipes. Throughout this season, in this year in 2011, he has shown some incredible speed at times, but has not put it together here on the Motocross Championship. But So many times here at this racetrack, at this facility, I've seen riders just come out of the woodwork and just have that day of days.
Look at this battle between Durham and Izzy. Durham on the 37 on your left, Izzy on the 42. Durham going to try to out-jump him. It's the big uphill. Then one of those off-camber corners where the land falls away to the opposite side.
Here we go.
Durham takes advantage, takes the lead. Nice ride. Is he going to try to run it around the outside and get him back? No. So Pennsylvania's own Darren Durham in the lead. Yeah, it's like we showed our replay of the old school Tony D, Pennsylvania's own, winning this race. Durham's going to try to do the same.
Well, and listen to the crowd as they come around here in the spectator areas where there's thousands of motocross fans lining the fences. They're going to be happy to see that.
And Sipes, a Kentucky boy, and he's put in a lot of laps as an amateur on this track as well, and he takes over the number 2 spot from Nico Izzy. So we're finally seeing Ryan Sipes ride to his potential outdoors. You mentioned not putting it together, hurt his wrist at our opener in California, didn't finish, hurt his back in our last race in Texas, didn't finish. So he just wants to finish one of these things, and right now he's in second. There is Rattray, who won this race last year. He's in 4th.
Rattray, nice start here. You know, at the end of the moto, as this thing goes on, Rattray's one of those riders that is always there for the podium, but certainly having a win at this facility, at this racetrack, you have good memories of it. You try to use that. Anything that you can do to build your confidence and build your belief, you know, that definitely helps out.
And how about Dean Wilson right behind him? Rattray is second in the series standings right now. There he is in the number 28. And you'll see the red number plate on the number 15. That's because Dean Wilson is your series leader. Now, Wilson didn't win either round 1 or 2, but he was consistent through both. And that's why he's your points leader. Right behind him, you got Malcolm Stewart.
Yeah, Wilson actually just made his way around Malcolm Stewart. As you see the running order across the top of the screen, that's going to put Wilson up to 5th and Stewart back to 6th. But the track's starting to get a little chopped out, a little bit dusty in spots. Some of those wet sections from earlier in the 450 moto are starting to dry out. Looks like they actually worked on the track a little bit in some spots too to even out the racing line to where you can pretty much use anywhere on the track. This is an off-camber turn right here, Jason, where you really have to weight that outside peg, force your right knee into the tank and area to get some grip out of those tires.
Just explain what off-camber means.
Trying to make a left and the track's falling away to the right, and that's when the side edges, the side knobbies on the tires, that's when they are required to do their job and hold the bike in line.
Oh, those knobs are getting pushed pretty hard by both of these riders. Darren Durham in the lead on the 37, and the 25 of Sipes. They are nailing their turns right now, going after each other. A great battle for the lead at High Point.
Fighting for it. I love the enthusiasm and the effort out of these two riders.
And Sipes, I thought, had it in line, couldn't make it work. So Durham continues to lead them over the big tunnel jump. Yes, Durham is the home track specialist, but like I said, Sipes has logged a lot of laps here as an amateur as well. He's an East Coast guy. I've seen him here on mini bikes and the intermediate ranks, the expert ranks, and now as a pro. These two know their way around High Point.
And both riders wearing the GoPro camera on top of their helmets. So what great footage they're going to have of just the action, you know.
Then you got Nico Izzy trying to hold on to 3rd with 2 Kawasaki's all over him. Izzy on the red number 42, and the 28 of Rattray, the 15 of Wilson right there. Wilson has the red number plate because he's your series leader. Oh, and Izzy just able to hang on through those ruts.
Well, it looks like that rut was starting to blow out a little bit and gets what we call a hook in it. 450s beat this track up pretty bad. Now, back in the days, we would have ran a 125cc before the Premier class, which was the 250 two-stroke class. Now we run the Premier class of 450s and the 250 four-stroke class here is second. So the younger guys, entry-level guys, some of the rookies, the track's going to be a little bit tougher for these guys than what it would have been a decade or so ago.
Yeah, a lot of these riders, we can't establish this strongly enough. Most of these riders are teenagers right out of the amateur ranks. The rare exception is Rattray there in the 28, who spent a lot of time riding in Europe. He's from South Africa, but he's pretty seasoned before he came over to race this class. Now he wants to go after the championship, and now he wants to go after the 42 of Nico Izzy and get the number 3 spot. Here he comes.
You know, Dean Wilson classic. He's always got his jersey hanging out the back of his...
Rattray able to make the move on the inside, so that should put Rattray into third. We'll find out. Izzy trying to fight back. It's a drag race. Izzy's on the inside, but Rattray's got the spot.
Yeah, let's see if Wilson here can capitalize. Yes.
Wow.
Once again, both Kawasaki riders around Nico Izzy, and hey, Wilson is determined. He's riding with so much enthusiasm and so much confidence this season.
Well, the first moto of the year he won in Texas, and he said he really didn't expect to win the first race. Kind of put some pressure on him. It looks like he's a whole lot more comfortable going after wins now. In fact, he is the aggressor as he stalks his teammate Rattray.
What I was saying there just before those passes went down is you see Wilson, his jersey is constantly out of the back of his pants. And on hot days, you got to think that that'd be an advantage. Maybe it's something that he does, you know, to cool his back, cool his body temperature off.
Good ventilation. The battle for the lead has cooled off just a little bit. It's Durham and Sipes. Durham has pulled out 2 seconds now on the 25 to go back here to third and fourth. Rattray versus Wilson. Then it's Nico Izzy. Yes, it is. And then it's Stewart, Cunningham, Barsha, Baggett, 9th, and Eli Tomac, 10th. So our fast qualifier, Baggett, is mired in the number 9 spot, while his 2 Kawasaki teammates, Rattray and Wilson, are 3rd and 4th, running for the podium, although you got to figure these two want more than just 3rds and 4ths. They want to go after the leaders, Sipes and Durham.
See the track, they worked on that corner, smoothed it out some, but already a huge rut that's getting really rough inside there. That is when the hours and just lap after lap of testing and trying to fine-tune your suspension and chassis setting, get the engine dialed in and the power delivery right to where that when you get in the turn, watch right here, he just rolls the throttle on and you get the bike to accelerate out of the turn. That's how you drop the lap times.
The gap right now is about 5 seconds between Rattray in 3rd and Sipes in the number 2 spot. So we'll stick with this battle. This is the best one on the track at the moment. What'd you say about the enthusiasm of Wilson? He is throwing that number 15 sideways all over the place. Ultra aggressive right now.
And you notice he's got a red background and white numbers on his number plate. Now that signifies the red background that he is the points leader. Rattray, of course, running the black background.
And that's the first time that Wilson has ever been the series leader in this class. First time he's ever had the red plate. Apparently that thing is not slowing him down. No extra pressure, nothing to worry about. In fact, he looks more motivated than ever. Just trying to find some running room to get around his teammate.
Look how nice that soil is right around there. Just a nice loam. You can really get some lean angle on the bike. Like I said, just make those outside knobbies on the tires. Just make them dig in, power through there. Such a cool section, but unfortunately for Dean Wilson, he's taking a bunch of roost off the back of the 28. So there is some extra incentive to get past his teammate, not only the position, but then you get rid of that stinging roost that I'm sure that he's eaten up. Now watch, he's going to the inside right here. And well, ooh.
Wow, switched.
Yeah, see, so Rattray went outside to inside, and Wilson went inside to outside, and it's really tough to make that hip double, which is huge, by the way, in the line that Dean Wilson has taken.
Now in the section that's been carved out, there used to be a whole bunch of trees down here. They cleared those so the fans could watch this type of action. We go back uphill to the other side of the valley. Wilson looking for a spot on the inside, and Rattray beats him to it.
See if he can get the drive. No, Rattray draws some clean lines, but surely the pressure here of Wilson. See if he gets by this off camber. That's the fall back in line.
Jeff, how hard is it to stop on the inside where Wilson was going?
It's a lot easier to stop if you nail the guy in front of you. That's part of it. That's an advanced technique that you can use to your advantage here at High Point on these off cambers.
It's very mature. It's a way to ride. Got to be careful when it's your teammate.
It happens, dude.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it happen before. Wilson is running inside in every corner here, but this is what happens when you got a veteran like Rattray. He doesn't get bothered by any of this.
Nah, he is just so mentally strong that way. Kept his lap times up. You see our leader, Durham, running a 2:14, Rattray and Wilson a 2:15. So the local boy is out front smoking, and Wilson said, I did not like the left. I'm going to try the outside here. I need to get by my teammate.
Man, this is exciting to watch. These two Kawasaki guys going at it. Here goes Wilson again. There's that big triple. Neither rider able to get over it. This corner right here, every time you think they're on the outside, they switch. Here we go, Wilson makes the move. Brilliant move to take the lead. He started on the outside, he switched to the inside. He's switching lines more quickly than I can possibly call it. So, Wilson up to third. We're nearing the halfway point in this moto. Can he make up ground on our leaders, Darren Durham and Ryan Sipes? Stay with us. Big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habit is the wildest late-night party on television. Weeknights 11 Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. Well, there is a reason the Pennsylvania fans are fired up, because their boy, Darren Durham, is leading the way about halfway through our 250 moto at High Point Raceway. And there are a couple of characters amongst them who are probably cheering the loudest. Chad Sanner, who runs the team that Durham rides for, 1110 Mods, was a former pro himself, then was a factory mechanic, moved back to Pennsylvania to start his own team, and what a team they've built right now with him and Darren. And also you got a man they call Megawatt, who runs the local Honda shop here, and they're on board backing Durham as well. These are guys who grew up at this racetrack, and I mean like literally racing here 4 or 5 years old. And now they are reaching the top of the mountain. They can see it, but can they get there? 14 minutes, 50 seconds, and 2 laps left in this race.
Yeah, but Darren Durham all season has been strong. He's been inside the top 10. He's had some spectacular rides. Qualified third here today. So this is a legit ride, but this is uncharted territory for Darren. He's never been in this position before. And so I'm interested to see if he can keep pushing all the way to the checkered flag, or if the pressure of winning his first AMA National Moto event will get to the best of him. Is the competition going to catch him? But so far, so good. I mean, just a spectacular ride, flawless, out front by 5.3 seconds. Actually stretched it out a little bit on Ryan Sipes, who's running in second.
And we can't overstate the fact that Durham is a privateer. That means he does not get backing. He's riding a Honda, but he doesn't get paid by Honda. Honda doesn't give him bikes or special parts. Oh no, Durham makes a mistake. Can he recover? Beautiful job to keep it off the ground, but he's going to lose a lot of ground there.
This is when your mind starts thinking and you get some thinking errors happening. You know, he's got to get all those negative thoughts out, shake that off, regroup here. He's going to for sure lose some time. And this is one of those sections where over the years, this little right-hand turn has given some riders some fits. We've seen so many classic mistakes in that section, but let's hope that for Durham, this isn't the mistake that allows the competition to catch up and to lose the lead.
There's Sipes, second spot, blue bike, number 25. There's Wilson, who had to get around Tyler Rattray to take third. Rattray's still fourth, and now Blake Baggett's back on the radar. He is fifth. He was ninth earlier. He has gotten around the 42 of Nico Izzy, who is another one of those privateer riders, another rider riding basically on his own. These Kawasaki bikes you look at here, that's works equipment. They've got the good stuff, the best stuff Kawasaki basically can put out on the racetrack. That's what they're riding on. Baggett, who's very fast here last year on a Suzuki and seems even better this year on a Kawasaki, is going after Rattray, looking for the number 4 spot. Rattray 28, Baggett 57. And there goes Baggett to the inside.
Ooh, let's see if he can hold it. Now, he had to jump up there. Just came in a little hot. He would have really got into his teammate hard. And I'll tell you, that's a tough thing. If you end up taking your teammate out, get inside the team hauler there.
This coming from the guy who said it's easy to stop by running into somebody.
It's usually best if it's not your teammate.
Okay, well, that's why Wilson didn't do it before, I guess. And that's why Baggett didn't do it here. Remember, go back to Hangtown, the first race of the year that Baggett won. It was this stage of the race, Jeff, the latter laps, that he really did the damage.
Well, watch, he's carrying his momentum around the outside. Wow.
Tripled up and takes over the spot. Rattray's going to be on the inside for the next turn, but I don't know if he has the distance to get it back. They're going for the same piece of real estate. Baggett up against the fence. Well, Baggett lost the position, but he was lucky to just not lose the entire race altogether. He could have been done if he had run into the fence there.
How about the composure and the determination of Tyler Rattray not letting that pass stick? Oh, but now he's got on it again. No way!
Baggett around the inside and gets him. Yeah, I know what you're saying. When you see a rider make a crazy move like Baggett did, a lot of times it's hard to respond back, and Rattray did. And then Baggett responded. So, yeah, the mental strength, these guys, not intimidated.
That pass was amazing. What Baggett did right there. He kept both feet on the pegs and leaned the bike over around that sweeper. Wasn't tempted to take his left foot off for that, a security.
Right.
Really executed it. Good pass.
Aaron Bates, let's talk about the 28 of Rattray a little bit here. What did you have?
What a performance right now by Tyler Rattray. But guys, they did Team Thursday testing, and it's something that the Pro Circuit team has been doing with a couple of other riders for the past few weeks. But they really focused on not only chassis, but suspension for Tyler. They're just trying to make him a little more comfortable, provide him with a little additional confidence. They were doing some sprints, a lot of motos, but softened everything up just a little bit. Tyler's confidence is definitely soaring high coming off his first motocross overall last when we saw him in Freestone.
Yeah, he won there. A lot of teams are saying that, Aaron. They got to soften the suspension for the different terrain here. But, yeah, with all the help they have, whatever combination Darren Durham and the 1110 Mods Honda team has come up with is working best right now. We've got a long way to go to see if the home track specialist can hold on and win his first ever AMA Moto. Bad news here for the rider that was running in second place at High Point Raceway. Ryan Villopoto goes down. This has been the story of his season early in the motocross tour. Great riding, but not able to show it in the results. But our leader is still safe, Darren Durham on the 37.
Darren Durham out front over Dean Wilson by 5.2 seconds. So Wilson has definitely made up some ground on the leader.
He's looking back, Jeff.
Durham taking a look back. He's going to have to keep focused. Take a deep breath around these resting spots on the track. Relax your hands and your arms. Get rid of any arm pump that could possibly be shaping up, because he's going to need it. If Durham is to win this moto, he will have to contest these two riders, because Wilson and Baggett are the fastest riders on the track at the moment.
Well, out of the two that are the fastest, I think Baggett might be the faster of the two, because he has caught Wilson from way back, and this to me looks like a replay of what we saw a few weeks ago at Hangtown. Late in the race, it's like they put some nitrous in his tank or something, and he hit the switch. The 57 of Baggett on fire right now. He was in 9th earlier. He is up to 3rd, and he is all over Wilson for 2nd.
Let's see, pay attention to their lines here and try to pick out exactly where Baggett is making up time. You see him taking a little smoother line there around the outside, maybe carrying a little momentum. Going to get into some lapped riders, and there's definitely a few sections on the track here that if you get caught behind that lapped rider and you get caught into that main groove, that it can slow you down.
I think it just happened there to Baggett. Now he's got to go back to work, close back in on the 15. If these two hook up and battle a little bit, could that work out to the benefit of Durham is in the lead? Will they push each other to go faster, or will they slow each other down battling?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, if they start block passing each other and doing that sort of cat and mouse thing, but I don't really think that this is the type of track for that. They're both running some great lap times right now, and they're just pushing forward. They are teammates, so you look for them to race, possibly a little cleaner than what you would if it was your arch rival, or,
Yeah, so that might make a difference. They might not slow each other too much, and man, they are definitely closing in on Durham. And Durham's got to feel like this is an hour-long moto instead of a half-hour one. There are still 5 minutes before the two-lap board comes out. Here goes Baggett around the outside. Same line he tried to use to get around Rattray. Rattray almost put him into the fence. This time, Baggett tries to tuck it back in on Wilson.
Wow, and Wilson anticipated that move and squared it up. He's got the inside line right now. Let's see if Baggett tries to square him up. Now, remember, Wilson made a pass on Rattray right here. Held the line tight, left no room for Blake Baggett to get on the inside. Wilson is riding a very smart race at this point. And notice these guys are really getting on the brakes hard right now and really pressing what the tires have.
Well, guys, Dean Wilson riding around right there. A question for you, Jeff, because these guys have all prepared for the mud conditions today. You'll notice some of them have hand guards. A lot of that was to protect for rocks, but they were actually initially expecting it to avoid any kind of mud. A guy like Dean Wilson has a big radiator and a big screen, completely prepared for mud, including sharp foot pegs. What difference does that make, or does that give him any type of advantage on this track?
Well, the big radiators, yeah, that's definitely going to help out with the cooling, and I think that everybody is a little bit fearful. They're a little bit gun-shy after some of the things that have happened last week, and this championship is just so challenging for the rider and the machine. Definitely the hand guards, like we've seen in the 450 class on Davi Millsaps, is something that you want to run.
And Baggett has now made the move on Wilson up into second. And that is a dangerous rider to have in the number 2 spot if you're the leader, because Baggett late in these races has been lightning fast. Still not quite able to see Durham, the leader, within his sight. It's a lot easier to catch a guy when you can see him. But we got 4 laps to go, 5 laps to go, something like that, depending on the clock. Plenty of time for Baggett to close in.
Yeah, Baggett's on the move right now. And I mean, it's just amazing. He's a little guy, okay, but he is so physical. And since he is hooked up with Eldon Baker, it seems like that has just... Whoa! He saves it!
Explain what happened there. Clipped the back wheel, hit the front wheel. What happened there?
Yeah, he's trying to jump through those rollers, but see, gets the heart rate up a little bit, but all good now. Still got the bike on 2 wheels, and now that he can see the leader in sight, this is when you start to feel good, because you've just got everything flowing right, and you see some lappers have a pretty good chance that can help you out right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Durham is struggling to get around some of these riders. He's finally done it, but the damage is done. We're down to 1.5 seconds. The gap between your leader, Durham, and the 57-inch second of Blake Baggett. A great race to the finish coming up on Fuel TV. Battle for the lead is on here at High Point Raceway. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross. Pennsylvania's own Darren Durham is the leader. He has never won one of these races before in his career, but he's got Blake Baggett all over him in second place.
Got his hands full right now. Baggett really applying the pressure.
And Durham makes a mistake. Will he be able to beat Baggett to the inside of the next corner? No, Blake Baggett into the lead, and Durham grabbed too much throttle, lost the drive, and Baggett says thank you very much. And late in these races, forget it. You are not going to repass Blake Baggett. He is on fire right now.
Watch what happens here. Durham knows that he has to get on the throttle, hits one of those slick spots in this track, that hard clay underneath. Tire just could not hold the traction, and he could not hold the number 1 position.
What gets into Blake Baggett late in these races? He is like a completely different rider when we get past the halfway point. Look at the lead he's built now.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens. And you see Dean Wilson here at the top of your screen, green Kawasaki, trying to make the move. He basically got dropped by his teammate. He's 6 seconds behind the lead right now. You know Dino's going to be a little ticked off at that, because it was looking like early in the moto that he would be the one that would come through to take the lead. Baggett has one-upped him.
Yeah. I mean, we said it earlier. They were the 2 fastest on the track, but Baggett was the faster of the 2. Aaron's got Darren Durham's mechanic. What's happening down there in the pits?
Well, guys, I'm here with Nathan Alexander. You've been mechanic for Darren Durham for the last 1.5 years. But Nathan, these guys just backed off, lost second, lost that first place position. Do you think he's got anything left in him to fight these guys back for that first place?
I think he does, but he's just trying to play it safe. First time he's been comfortable all year, and he's trying to keep things together so he can finish it up with the second moto.
How excited are you for this moment anyhow?
I'm really excited. Everyone worked so hard. It's finally paying off.
There you go, guys. I'm proud mechanic watching this boy go by.
Trying to figure out what's happening here at Durham. He has lost his lines completely out there, Jeff. Is he tired? Is he lost composure? Now he's trying to come back on Wilson.
Well, at least in that one corner, we saw him go wide in the same spot where he lost traction in the rear tire the lap before and gave up the lead, and then gave up second place to Wilson here, but still a fine ride for the Pennsylvania native. And it's really important in this section here that you, this time in the moto, that you keep your composure, that you breathe, that you try to relax in this very stressful physical situation, and you just never know if he can regroup here.
It looks like
get
he
back
has.
into number 2.
It was a terrible lap or so when he got caught by Baggett and then passed, and then Wilson came up past him as well. And now the 37 wants to move back into the number 2 position.
Man, he's got some great lines here. You know that he's comfortable riding the high lines on these off cambers. Watch this huge double here. Wilson takes a look back. Durham just squeaks by and makes that big hip double.
Talk about the experience, by the way. Baggett, who won a race a couple of weeks ago, Wilson's won several of these. What is it like to lead a moto for the first time in your career like Durham did?
It's a surreal moment because you're out there and it's, you know, your heart rate's up and there's, you know, just the enthusiasm of it all, and you know that you're leading. You know, the fans are cheering you on, and kind of gives you chills while you're riding at times too. I always used to feed off the crowd. I love that feeling, and that's what the top racers who have been in that position, they learn to use that to their advantage.
Well, he better feed off the crowd now, because if Blake Baggett is the rider you least want behind you late in the race with his lap times, I'd say the 28 Tyler Rattray might be second on that list. That guy doesn't get tired. He is in fourth. He is within sight of Durham. So Durham's going to have to hustle through this last lap and a half to hold on to even a podium spot. That's how deep the competition is in Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross. You can run strong for 25 minutes, even 30, but the last moment you make even one slip up and there's a whole bunch of riders who want to take your spot away. Oh, by the way, point out that Darren Durham's brother Shane is running in 19th, so the Durham brothers out of Pennsylvania, both in the top 20. And it depends on the section of the track where they just came from. Durham seems to be pretty fast.
Yeah, he definitely put on a charge right there, but Wilson, this has been a great ride for him, but like I said, he's going to be a little disappointed. He was going for the W here, and Baggett out front now by 11.9 seconds. He's a couple seconds a lap quicker, and it seems like that now that we're well past the 30-minute mark, actually at times across top of the screen, that's a 4-second difference.
Unbelievable.
Baggett here, even with just one lap to go, putting down some of the fastest lap times. So they were at a 2:18. Baggett's at a 2:14. He qualified at 2:12.
Jeez. The rider, by the way, that Baggett just put a lap down is Shane Durham, Darren Durham's younger brother, but he is still in 19th. That's a good, solid ride for him. Now, oh, and Shane goes down in that corner. Man, the last couple laps have not been nearly as good for the bros as they were the early ones. We'll see if Darren can hold on for a top 3. No one's stopping this guy. Blake Baggett,
look at that.
Throwing it sideways here in the last lap.
That's the style right there, and that only comes when you're fit, when you know, you're dialed in with the bike and your technique. You just seem to be able to just lean the bike and throw the bike, you know, whip it out at times. I loved being in that, in that zone. You know, it's so hard to get there, and then once you're there, it's such a great feeling. I mean, you can just put the bike wherever you want. It seems like you just hit every bump like you want. If you want to hop over one, you just bounce over it.
It's unbelievable what Baggett's been able to do in a class, the 250 bikes, that is known for such close competition. The riders are usually battling, you know, for tenths of a second here, inches instead of feet, and this kid comes out and goes 4 seconds a lap faster than people toward the finish. Blake Baggett wins Moto 1 at High Point in what is becoming his favorite style, coming from behind. And what happened to Darren Durham? We just saw the 15 come by Wilson, the 28 of Rattray. There is Durham, and late in this race, that is a lap rider there, Lance Vincent. Durham is going to fall off the podium in the last lap. That is a big bummer for the Pennsylvania native who led the majority of laps in this race. But, Jeff, like you said, it's a surreal experience to lead like that.
Yeah, but how about it? Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Baggett first, Wilson second, Rattray third, and from way behind, their fourth teammate, Brock Tickle, and in 10th. All 4 bikes inside the top 10.
Yeah, and more struggle for that Geico Honda team that's expected to challenge them. Justin Barsha is running 9th, and Eli Tomac in 6th. So the fans here almost got what they wanted. Darren Durham led a whole bunch of this first moto, but he was not able to hold on to the end. But you got to learn to lose one before you can learn to win one, right?
Well, I call it building the foundation, and that was definitely a step forward. Got the experience of out front leading to see what that's like. And, you know, he was in uncharted territory right there. I think he performed brilliantly. Even though he gave up that position on the last lap, he's still got to be extremely happy with that.
And what are they going to do about Blake Baggett? After a rough one in our last race at Texas, he has rebounded and come back. He's on top again. Stay with us.
Well,
watch the best Kung Fu cult classic films only on Fuel TV. Next Saturday, it's the premiere of Executioners from Shaolin, late night at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Aaron Bates has got the star of the show here as far as the Pennsylvania fans are concerned. Aaron?
Home track specialist making a statement out here today. Darren, what a race that was for you, leading all the way down to the final lap. How surreal was that experience for you in front of all your family and friends?
Yeah, you know, I ran a great race. My bike was working awesome, 1110 mods, Morgantown Power Sports, PR2, Volcom, everyone for helping me out, Von Zipper, DVS. And yeah, I was riding good, and I got some dirt jammed to my brake and couldn't jump a jump on the last lap, and Rattray got me. So I'm pretty bummed out, but I'm going to come back strong next moto.
Great job today.
What a ride for the privateer, independent kid doing it with the help of his family and his friends, Jeff.
Yeah, just what a great ride. But hey, he can come back. He's been able to put in 2 solid motos. So.
Here's the results. Blake Baggett, your winner. His Kawasaki teammates Wilson and Rattray joined him on the podium. Kyle Cunningham, another solid ride. He was our rider to watch in this one, and watch him get a top 5.
Top 10, Nick Paluzzi bringing down a 14th.
And Gareth Swanepoel, who has been battling 4 podiums this year, kind of a disappointment in 12th. And Shane Durham, that's Darren's younger brother, does hold on to finish 20th and score 1 national point. The rest of these guys hope to do a little better in the next moto and get inside that top 20 where you score points. There's your 1 through 40. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates with your moto winner.
Blake Baggett coming out swinging. Blake, you were wanting to make a point here at High Point, especially after the rough week you had at Freestone, but you were the one guy mentioned how slippery these conditions were. How much has the track changed from morning till now?
Definitely the track's changed a lot. You know, this morning it was kind of muddy because it rained yesterday, and you know, right now it's dry now. They're actually having to water. I think the rain might be coming, though. It looks like it, but you know, it's super slippery. It's kind of like California track. It reminds me a little bit of Hangtown, but I just got to give it up to my team: Monster Energy, Pro Series, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Volcom, Vans, Dunlop, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend, my trainer, Alden Baker, everybody. You know, it wouldn't be possible without them.
What do you have left for the second moto, Blake?
What'd you say?
What do you have left for the second moto? Do you have anything left?
Yeah, we'll see. I think I used up all my tricks right there. I came from pretty far back, but just do the same thing and try to get a better start.
Congratulations on a job well done. Good luck in the second moto.
Think this kid's got something left for Moto 2?
Oh yeah. He was out front so fast and efficient. Yeah, he's got to be feeling good right now.
Unbelievable rebound after a tough one. He won the opener, struggled in round 2, back here with a moto win at round 3. We'll have more from High Point when we return live on Fuel TV. We are back at High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Big crowd gathered here, and they got what they wanted to see. One of the local favorites led a whole bunch of this one. We'll show you the Lucas Oil race recap. The 37 of Darren Durham makes the move on the 42 of Nico Izzi, and he's out front really for the first time in his career, Jeff.
Yeah, and Durham was setting some super fast lap times. This looked fantastic, and the crowd was cheering him on all the way.
Unfortunately, the 57 of Blake Baggett caught fire late in the race. A mistake by Durham. Got about 3 laps to go here. The 57 moves into the #1 spot. He would not be headed. And then a big mistake by Durham here allows Dean Wilson to take second.
Goes wide in the exact same turn, and also on the last lap gives up third to Tyler Rattray.
So Blake Baggett is back. He wins the second moto. We already talked to him. We've got Dean Wilson on the podium and Aaron Bates. Aaron?
Dean Wilson has been working on his starts all season long, but Dean off to a bit of a bad start again, starting from mid-pack. How big of a challenge is this start today, considering it's also an uphill start?
Yeah, it's real difficult, you know. I actually kind of thought I was going to get a good start. You know, I got a pretty good jump, but just wheelied a little bit and got pinched off. So, but you know, it was a good moto. You know, I got second, can't complain with that, but really wanted to win. But it's kind of tired myself out trying to get around Tyler. You know, I was pushing really hard to make that happen, and it took me too long. So, you know, Blake was just charging and came flying by us. You know, he was going real fast. So, yeah, just looking forward to maybe some redemption second mo.
Big talk, big sports, big tunes. Daily Habits, the wildest late-night party on television. Weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, only on Fuel TV. We'll be checking that out. Jeff, you ever been in the Daily Habit?
Yeah, you have. Oh, yeah. Going on again soon.
All right, let's send it down to the podium one more time with Aaron Bates and Tyler Rattray.
Tyler comes off his first overall victory at Freestone. Tyler, what is the confidence builder of that coming in here, and what do you do to apply all of that confidence to this track?
Well, I felt good coming in here, and I really enjoyed coming to this track, and it was pretty hard out there for me. You know, I suffered with a bit of arm pump, I was struggling with my suspension and fighting the barb, so thought my riding wasn't really good, but made a couple of suspension changes for the next race, and think it'll be better. I just want to thank the guys from Monster Energy, Monster Kawasaki, Post Limited, for everyone. Thanks.
Terrific job, Moto number 1.
Give you an idea of some of the upcoming shows here on Fuel TV. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. We have the highlights of each round of the series. And then next week, we're going not too far away, about 3 hours from here, Budds Creek, Maryland. We'll have the highlight show for that on Thursday night. And then next, it's off to Colorado. And we are off to the podium one more time with Aaron Bates. Aaron?
Kyle Cunningham, 5th place, and we saw you on the podium last in Wortham with a 3rd place. Kyle, what is it that has changed so much about you as a rider for you to be able to step up your speed so much?
I got to give it up to the DNA, Shred Stakes, Star Racing, Saquon, Infab, Yamaha team. They've done a great job with the bike, and we've really made some progress. I'm kind of happy with the ride. I rode all right for, you know, the first 15, and then once I hit the halfway, I kind of picked it up, and, you know, I just settled in the last lap. But, you know, we're looking forward to the next moto. I feel a lot better this weekend, so hopefully I can get the Yamaha up front and end up on the podium again.
Congratulations on a job well done.
That was a solid ride, though. He was about 30 seconds behind Baggett, but definitely an improvement. And skies look awfully dark in the background there, Jason.
Yeah, we were only halfway through the race day. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross coverage. Second moto coverage will be on Speed tonight on Saturday, and our 450 class coverage will be on NBC on Sunday. So much coverage. If you want to know exactly what's going on, just go to allysports.com. That's the official site of this series. But what can you say about Blake Baggett and Ryan Villopoto? They are our first moto winners today live on Fuel, and they have answered the question, can they rebound, can they bounce back? So far, they've proven they can. So congratulations to those two. Fans got to see some great racing out here today, so congratulations to them for buying tickets and coming to watch. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship Racing live on Fuel TV. We'll catch you next week. Through 40 years of motocross in America, this track along the Pennsylvania-West Virginia state line has created its share of history. Great champions have carved their names into motocross history by winning at High Point Raceway. Pennsylvania's own Tony DiStefano, Honda's superstar Rick Johnson, the beast from the East, Damon Bradshaw, and the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael. For the 35th time, history will be made as the greatest dirt bike riders in the world come to Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. This is the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Ally on NBC presents the best in action sports. Today, it's the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We're in the rolling hills of southwestern Pennsylvania for round 3 of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. It's the 35th annual Rockstar Energy Drink High Point Raceway National. Hello everyone and welcome to Ally Sports coverage of AMA Pro Motocross. Jason Wygant here, your host. And in front of me, behind me, around me, a huge crowd gathered to see the best dirt bike riders in the world do battle on one of the sport's most treacherous racetracks. We'll give you an idea what the series has had happen thus far as we show you the series point standings. It's dominated right now by the veteran from Australia, Chad Reed. Meanwhile, his chief competitors, Ryan Villopoto, Davi Millsaps, Ryan Dungey, Brett Metcalfe, have all had up and down series already with some bad luck here and there. So a big question, can Reed keep the momentum going, or is this racetrack, which has led to a lot of drama in the past, about to unfold some more history? For more on that, let's send it to Chad Reed's pits with 4-time AMA National Motocross champ, Jeff Emig.
Chad Reed has built his points lead with 2 overall wins. And Chad, what's it going to take here at High Point to keep that train rolling and keep the red plate?
Hopefully the same thing, you know. High Point's been great to me. It was my first ever lights win, my first ever 450 win. So, yeah, just try to keep the ball rolling. I kind of feel like I'm tied on points right now. You know, I think Dungey had a really bad luck in Texas, and I just want to bring it every weekend, you know, just leave the race, win or lose, knowing that I brought it, you know, everything that I had, gave it all I had, and rode the best that I could. And so far, I'm just having so much fun because I'm riding to my ability, and that's as a racer, that's all you want to ask from yourself.
And for more on the reigning champ, let's go to Tiffany Simons.
Ryan, back at Freestone, in that second moto, you had a little bit of trouble with your bike, and not only cost you the win, but also valuable points. Now that you've had a week off, where's your head at and what adjustments has your team made?
Well, I think Freestone was just an unfortunate deal. You know, it happened, and you know, I guess all the guys, we worked hard. You know, they're going to make sure it don't happen again, and nobody's fault. You know, it just happens. But had a good weekend off, got to enjoy some time and work on some things that we needed to improve. But absolutely, got here at High Point. Just looking forward to getting out there. Last year was fun, and always look forward to coming back here. So we got a strong team, solid setup, and feeling pretty good. So looking forward to it.
Good luck to you today.
Thank you.
Now let's go over to Jamie Bestwick.
We're here in the Monster Kawasaki pits with the number 2, Ryan Villopoto, coming off a fantastic Supercross season. After a 2-year absence, Ryan's here at the AMA Outdoor Nationals. Ryan, how are you feeling this weekend at High Point?
Yeah, I feel good. With the weekend off, got some time under our belt on the bike, did some testing, got that better. So, you know, I'm just looking forward to hitting these races that I missed the last 2 years and, you know, looking for a win.
All right, after a subdued start in the first 2 rounds, look for Ryan Villopoto to be charging hard here at High Point, PA.
Well, the riders, bikes, teams, they are prepped for what should be a great day of racing today in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Stay with us for coverage of the Rockstar Energy Drink High Point National. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championships are brought to you by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. By Toyota, the 2011 Toyota Tundra, one of the most capable half-tons ever. By the Air National Guard. You can learn more at goang.com. And by Rockstar. Rockstar Energy Drink, available in 18 flavors and 19 countries. We're back with coverage. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. The riders are getting ready for the moto as they take their warm-up lap in the mud. The rain has come down. We've also already completed one race today. We'll explain that with our motocross 411. We race 2 motos every weekend in this AMA Pro Motocross Championship. We total up the scores from both of those races to determine an overall winner. Last year, Ryan Dungey got a big leg up on his championship run by winning this race, and he's going to have to rebound after finishing second in a moto earlier today, but we'll get to more of that in a moment. Right now, let's just focus on this racetrack. Jeff Emig, give us an idea of what High Point has in store for these riders.
Well, let's take a look at the track map here. Got a really deep, loamy uphill start. Going to need the horsepower. As you've seen on that opening shot, we've had a little bit of weather, some rain come down, so it's going to make a track that's some pretty hard-packed clay, going to make it really slippery and hard and sloppy here for Moto 2. A lot of elevation changes up and down, some off-camber turns where that extra rain is really going to make it tough. Riders going to have to rely on their technique. Back behind the start, triple uphill, and let's go on board.
Ricky Dietrich here, going to show us the fast way around the track, but it looks dry right now.
Yeah, this is earlier today in qualifying practice, but this gives you a sense of what the lines are like on the track. Uphill triple, he goes 2-1, so he can nail the inside start. Inside corner. This is actually the first turn area. So as the riders come off the start, they're going to be taking a lot of roost. So getting this hole shot in Moto 2 as you come through this section is going to be really critical because there's going to be a lot of mud, a lot of water, everything start to load up on your helmet visor, on your goggles, on the front of your bike and weigh the bike down. Ricky here going through a loamy section. Going to have a little knowledge here for what the second moto is going to be like. And this is one of those off-camber turns where if you can get into a rut, you're definitely going to be dialed in.
As we mentioned, we do have one moto already completed here today. We'll show you the highlights of that in just a moment, and that's the key in motocross. You must be consistent in not 1 but 2 races and in varied conditions. We didn't have any rain or mud to deal with in the first moto earlier today, and we'll show you the highlights of that in our Lucas Oil race recap. Off the start, Mike Alessi actually jumps through the gate. A couple of riders down. Ryan Dungey steals the early lead. But Ryan Villopoto did not mess around. He immediately snagged the #1 spot from Dungey and took off, Jeff.
Yeah, he was flying. He rode efficient and fast. Dungey here chased him, but just could not catch him. I still think that Dungey in second. This moto's got a great shot for the overall.
Meanwhile, Chad Reed, your series leader, struggling, just trying to get into the top 5. Battling it out here with Jake Weimer to get into 5th. Weimer would run into his trouble when under pressure. And Davi Millsaps closing in.
Yeah, and actually Reed in the first moto got hit with a rock in his left collarbone, and that really set him back. He struggled because of that, but man, watch Weimer here as he almost loses the Kawasaki, lays it down into the embankment.
Reed was able to get past Weimer there and then go after Kevin Windham to get into 4th. But he would still have to deal with Millsaps down the stretch of that race. So not the ride that Chad Reed wanted after winning the first 2 rounds of the year. The guy who did win, this rider, Ryan Villopoto, rebounding with a huge first moto win today. So that puts him in good position as we head to moto number 2. Jamie Bestwick, you were out there watching that one. Pretty impressive what Ryan Villopoto is able to do. First, we show you the results. Villopoto, Dungey, Millsaps. Mike Alessi, first race back in the Tour, crossed the line in 3rd, but after jumping to start, they pushed it back to 4th. There's the rest of the top 10. But how about that performance, Jamie, from Ryan Villopoto?
You know, just interviewing him this afternoon, he had a different frame of mind. You know, a lot of people said coming into this series, he had a lot on his mind after winning Supercross this year, which is a big deal. And then coming to the first 2 races, trying to make it happen, it just didn't pan through for him. But today, super focused. And that's what he needed to get back in the hunt for this championship.
How much can you change on the bike, Jeff, between the motos? We went from a dry racetrack to what's going to be a muddy and slippery one, and now it looks like the sun's beginning to come back.
Yeah, well, the big thing here, look at Villopoto's goggles right there. He's got tear-offs on the left side, on the right side, plus a roll-off system. So really prepared for all this wet, muddy condition that we're going to have.
All right, so explain how that works, the tear-off and the roll-off. They're 2 different goggle products.
Tear-off will clear all of the lens. A roll-off is a strip that goes all the way across, but you've got upwards of 100 pulls.
I see.
Now, a rider's only going to put, the most you probably put on is about 20 tear-offs. But, you know, before you start to lose the vision because of all of the layers of that clear Lexan.
All right, folks, the 30-second card is up, and now it's sideways, so we are just a few seconds away from dropping the gate and racing here in Pennsylvania. Dungey on the yellow bike and Mike Alessi on the orange, battling it out, and Mike Alessi going to grab the whole shot, and he's used to this. One of the best starters in the business has got the start.
And that was a Yamaha, somebody that slid in there, went a little wide. Let's see as they come over the tunnel jump there.
It's Dungey in 2nd, Honda rider in 3rd, and Jamie Bestwick, what are we seeing there?
You know what? Dungey again struggled at the start in race 1 in that 2nd turn. He kind of went a little bit wide, the back end went loose, and it looked like it's happening again. But he's really picking up speed because he knows he can catch Alessi. And
that was a Lowell Spangler who was battling with Dungey. A local native, Pennsylvania, goes down, and this track is slick, Jeff.
Wow, and he should have the local knowledge on that, but I'm telling you, look at the water holes, guys.
Yeah.
As you see Alessi just rocket out front, and this is what's so tough. This is why Villopoto and all the other riders...
Christian Craig down, one of the young riders out here on the Lucas Oil Honda.
Yeah, that's why they need so many tear-offs and lenses. And look at Craig shaking his left hand because now his glove has got mud all over it, so it makes it hard to hold on to the handlebars.
It's absolutely incredible. You know, I was just down in the JGR pits, and I just saw the amount of detail they were doing to the bikes, getting them prepped because they knew it was going to absolutely throw down with rain, and this race was going to be very, very tough on the riders and the bikes.
But now the skies are clear and it's sunny out.
You've got the 12 of Tommy Hahn battling it out there. But Mike Alessi trying to check out. Jeff, you said you got to get the start in the mud so you don't get roosted. Basically, the riders in front don't throw mud on top of you. So Alessi's in a good position right now.
Huge advantage at this point to be out front for Mike Alessi to keep his goggles clear, keep the bike light by not having a bunch of mud stack up on the front fender, on the front number plate, possibly on your chest and your lap area, especially on top of your helmet. And he can just go ride his own lines. Now, he stays out front. The only problem that he may have is getting into lapped riders.
Now, Alessi got hurt at the first race of the year in California, knocked himself out, had to take a couple weeks off to recover from a concussion. Apparently, he has not lost much during those 2 weeks.
You know what? It's really tough. You know, every time you get a concussion, it really does set you back. But the minute you start to feel that urge and the physicality coming back into yourself, you're back on it again. And he's doing a fantastic job because that crash at the beginning of the season, man, that would knock a cow over. That was so tough. But this dude is tough. And that's what he's built his whole persona on, is being the tough guy of MX racing.
Yeah, yeah. They call him the Navy SEAL at times because he's so darn strong. And, you know, not really going to contend for the championship probably this year since he missed those first 2 races. But, boy, he could have. if he could have just gotten on the track, because look what he's doing right now.
Yeah, and technically, as far as technique and skill, to me, Mike Alessi is as skilled as anyone out there, especially coming up through his amateur career. And he's been in plenty of races like this. I mean, look at the gap he has. It was 6 seconds across the finish line, and now it's even greater.
Well, what's had to change, that is Reed. So it was Dungey. Dungey has gone down. So that's how quickly things change, especially in muddy conditions in this sport. And this is the big double that they cannot get over.
Oh, Millsaps
can. He's working on Reed, Jamie.
Yeah, you know what? It's really crazy because I talked to a couple of guys out there today, and they said of all the people who will do the best in these bad conditions will be Millsaps, because he is super consistent, whether it be dry, whether it be absolutely horrible like this, because in PA, and I live in Pennsylvania, when these storms come in, they come in fast and then they clear and then it's bright sunshine. But Millsaps right now, he's going to take it to Reed, because in race one, he didn't show Chad Reed any mercy with him being the point leader. Davi Millsaps got a point to prove, and he wants to do well because the boss, Joe Gibbs, is right here in PA.
Oh, and here is Dungey, who was second on the first lap. He goes down. He's lost a whole bunch of ground, Jeff.
Yeah, and I seen him when he grabbed the bike. He first grabbed the right side of the handlebar. Okay, that's where the throttle grip is. It's a twist grip, and knowing that it's really important to keep the engine running, because once the bike is hot, it doesn't start so easy. So he grabbed the throttle, then the clutch, and kept the engine running. Definitely saved himself some time.
So you're watching second and third here. Chad Reed, veteran out of Australia, leading the series standings. That's why he has the red number plate background, if you can tell, in the mud of the side of the bike. He is second, and Davi Millsaps is third. And yeah, he rides for that Joe Gibbs racing team, and Joe Gibbs, the coach, is here today. So Millsaps definitely has motivation, and it's paying off. He is, like you said, not intimidated by Reed. He's trying to get second place from him.
No, and he's just come off a great result in Freestone, and he wants to do well this weekend. He does have a lot to prove, and he's a very good rider in these conditions, like we said. And that's going to be the key to the race today. Consistency. It has to be, because the conditions are absolutely atrocious. I think the only people that are clean are the people that are sitting in the stands, because everybody else is a mud bath.
And Mike Alessi.
And Mike Alessi.
I think Millsaps just tossed his goggles already. And if you look at the countdown clock on the upper right of your screen, we are 25 minutes away from getting the 2 laps to go board. So Millsaps is going to be riding without goggles for a good half hour here. Millsaps, by the way, is third in the series standing, so he wants to go after Reed. Maybe a championship threat, depending on how it goes. We've seen some bad luck for Dungey last week in Texas. Early in this race, you never know.
And why not? He's coming off an injury, and that's always tough. And now, he's got his bad part of the season out of the way. The Supercross season really didn't go his way, but coming to this outdoor stuff, he's got a new lease of life. He's got a great team behind him who install the utmost faith in him. They give him the best trainers. They give him everything and anything he needs in order to go out there and position himself at the front of the pack.
You guys can see at the top of your screen right here, we're 23 minutes to go before we get to 2-lap board. And as this track changes, as all these off cameras, you slide down into the main line. That main line, that rut is going to get really deep. So this track is going to go away, and it's going to get even more difficult than what it is right now by the end of this 30-minute plus 2 laps moto.
2 years ago, Mike Alessi was leading the points in this series. He came to High Point a few days early to practice. He crashed. It ended his year. Does the track go on one? We're going to find out. Stay with us. We're seeing the best and worst of Pennsylvania weather with Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship racing from Mount Morris. And we had rain earlier. Now the sun is back out. Mike Alessi, feels like it's a sunny day. Feeling good.
Yeah, and guys, think about it. There's 19 minutes plus 2 laps left in this. In the first moto, Alessi was docked a position. He finished third in the moto. He was docked a position, so he finished 4th. Right now, you've got Villopoto, the Moto 1 winner, actually, now he's up to 3rd. So could that one position come back to haunt him and keep him from getting the overall here today at High Point?
Yeah, absolutely. If Alessi had a 1st and a 3rd, and Villopoto had a 3rd and a 1st, Alessi would win because the tiebreaker goes to the better 2nd race finish. But Alessi has a 4th because he got penalized in Moto 1. We'll go back from Alessi now to our 2nd place rider. There he is, Chad Reed on the Honda. It's an interesting situation, Jamie, where Reed couldn't find a ride, and a lot of people thought he was going to retire at the end of last year. He's riding without his goggles now, but he started his own team. Just wanted to come out and try one more time, and lo and behold, he's leading the championship standings.
And I think this is a big inspiration to anybody getting into motocross, because what he's done is pretty much what nobody else will dare to do. They all take these full factory rides, and they have this safety net of these big companies. But Chad, he's gone it alone. He's invested his own money. He's brought in people away from some of these other companies. And you know what? Right now he's doing amazing things. And I think if he gets this right and the season goes his way, this really could be a fairy tale story for the privateer. And who knows? Add another rider, bigger deals, it's going to blow up for him.
Yeah, this team could be really a force to be reckoned with even beyond this in the next couple of years. Villopoto just went by. He is in third. We can tell you he's on the number 2 bike, but just take it from us. You're not going to be able to see the numbers on these things. There he is.
The brown and green bike.
Okay,
yeah.
the brown and green. All right, there is Villopoto in third. Tiffany Simmons, what are you hearing on Villopoto?
Well, guys, I spoke with Ryan Villopoto earlier, and he told me obviously they would have liked to have won the first 2 rounds, but he knew in the back of his mind, as long as I make it to week 3, I'm going to have a chance to work everything out. The team focused on their rear shocks all of last week. They actually spent time down in Florida to practice and prepare for the heat that they were expecting up here. It paid off in Moto 1. But after Moto 1, when I spoke with him again, he said, hey, I needed that win for myself. It was a monkey off the back type of race, but he was very quick to say he still feels he needs to back it up with a solid Moto 2.
Well, Villopoto's definitely doing that, and I would say that as opposed to the first 2 rounds, the Kawasaki team has definitely got the bike dialed in.
Now we know how Villopoto got into third. Millsaps down, and he's falling further and further through the field, so that's tough luck for the number 18.
Wow, and that close-up shot there, Jamie, you can see just how much mud was on his visor, his helmet. Really weights you down.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, but Chad Reed has just moved into the lead.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what happened here. If there was a problem for Alessi in these muddy conditions, it certainly wouldn't be a surprise considering how slippery it is. This is Dungey, who got his crash out of the way early, and he is in 5th right now.
And the crazy thing is, I was just about to say that, you know, going back to last year, Andrew Short was dominating Moto 2, and Dungey came through and did the double. But now, you know, Alessi had a 15-second lead on Chad Reed, and they just swapped places. So this track has a habit of just, you can't predict who's going to win. You really can't. And in these conditions, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, the way Villopoto dominated the first moto, you would have thought he'd just come out here and do it again. But that's not the way it works in motocross. Things change in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, Villopoto lapped up to 15th. And he lapped 15th in the first moto, and this could be a similar situation, if not higher, if a rider like Reed, Alessi, or Villopoto can stay on 2 wheels and keep turning some fast lap times, because the back markers, the guys that are in the back, they're back there because they're having problems. They're not having a good moto, and they're going much slower.
Here's Millsaps. We saw that he went down, lost position to Villopoto, then lost position to Dungey, so that puts the number 18 into 5th, and he has Tommy Hahn right behind him in 6th. Hahn out of Kansas. This is riding and training in Texas now, and making a run.
Hahn still has his goggles, too. That's going to be a big advantage for him at this point.
Behind Hahn, you have Kevin Windham, Tyler Bright, one of those independent riders, a privateer, the race of his life right now. He is running in 8th. Ricky Dietrich is 9th. Nick Way is 10th. Focus back in on the new leader, Chad Reed. And I don't even know, Jeff, if he knows he's in the lead. A lot of times these guys go down, there's riders falling all over the place. Might he have not even seen Alessi?
That's true, and he doesn't have his goggles right now, and that's gonna be a problem. Makes your eyes water. There's not only roost from other bikes as you're lapping some of the lap field, but there's mud coming up from your own bike that he has to deal with.
So treacherous on these guys. They're not just some of the fittest athletes, they're some of the toughest. Chad Reed leading the way here in the mud of Pennsylvania. A wild day of motocross racing. Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship in Pennsylvania. Earlier today, our own Jeff Emig got to look at some of the new safety innovations, keeping these riders in good shape on the motocross track.
In the past 5 years, the sport has become safer than at any point in history, and it's because of items like this. Start with the neck brace. It's meant to limit the range of motion in the neck area in the event of a crash, help protect against a spinal cord injury. Also, all the riders have to wear what's called the hats-off device. This is an air bladder that is mounted inside of the helmet. And what the medic crew can do is they take out the chin pads and they have the ability to blow the bladder up and push the helmet off of the rider's head rather than pull it off. And of course the knee brace. It's been around for a number of years, but it's very rare to find a rider who competes without a knee brace these days.
All right, talk about wearing knee braces on a track like this. You see the riders dangling their legs off the bike. Comes in handy on a day like today where it's all rutted and slippery, Jeff.
Yeah, we're taking a look at Alessi right there. And it's when you fall over, you know, and when things don't go right is when you really need those protective devices.
Got a battle on our hands here for second. Alessi and now Villopoto on the number 2. And these two are old rivals since they were kids on mini bikes, 12, 13 years old, pounding on each other, coast to coast. Their families are into it, and here they are racing again as professionals at High Point.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, during qualifying practice today, I was standing with Tony Alessi, Mike Alessi's father, and they were kind of in the same position in qualifying. And I said, this looks like a replay of 2003, you know?
Yeah, and Villopoto makes the move on Alessi. This thing is tough for us to see the numbers. The fans are probably confused what's going on. The bikes are completely covered, but the rider that just came over the jump first is Villopoto, then it's Alessi. That is second and third, Jamie.
Yeah, Villopoto's looking real good right now. He's looking to take the overall win, but what Alessi's got to watch out for now is Dungey's going to come hot on his heels, because Dungey was riding fast, but Villopoto is the fastest out on track. He's got to catch Reed. Is it impossible? We've seen Andrew Shaw get caught by Ryan Dungey last year. No, it's not. But these conditions, very, very treacherous.
Well, what's the plan here for Villopoto? Does he try to keep it on 2 wheels himself and minimize the mistakes, Jeff, and hope Reed makes one? Or does he put the hammer down and try to make things happen?
Well, Villopoto still has his goggles, it looks like. And that'll be key as they're working past these lapped riders. But when it comes to these sort of conditions, yeah, Villopoto excels. He's been one of the best that I've ever seen in this situation. If I'm Villopoto right now, I'm just riding a smart race. Okay. You realize second is going to give you the overall, and even though the championship points are based off of each moto, the overall really has no bearing on the championship points other than having the most. Having that overall and that claim to fame is going to be a big confidence booster for Ryan Villopoto.
And I think, too, coming in second place today, he's really backing up that race one win. That's what he wanted, you know, when he spoke to Tiffany earlier. He really wants to back up these races with a great second race finish, and that's what's going to take him. But a smart race from him today, and a not so smart race from Chad Reed, that could put him in that number 1 position. We don't know yet. We've got a lot of time left on the clock and those final 2 laps.
Yeah, exactly. So 8 minutes and 2 laps to go. That is plenty of time for Reed to make a mistake and maybe shake things up. Villopoto knows that. Villopoto did not need to pass Mike Alessi for second. Whoa, got a little sideways there. He didn't need to pass Alessi to win that overall for the day. But like you said, Jeff, just trying to get as many points in every single race as possible.
Yeah, but now you can see some lines starting to groove in certain spots. And now some of the wet, slippery spots, maybe a line gets grooved in, okay, a main groove, and it gives you that false sensation that the track is good. And then you see like Villopoto went just a tad bit offline, bike just squirreled out underneath of him. So track is more difficult now than even on the first couple laps when it was really wet.
Yeah, I spoke to Metcalfe earlier, and he was saying that, you know, every time he went for what he thought was the right line, it was the wrong line because that hard pack was right underneath it, and that was in great conditions. He says the minute it starts raining, it's going to be absolutely hell. So it's just going to be like an ice skating rink, and that's what it's proved to be this afternoon here in High Point.
Hey, some of them have the deal, and they're dancing here. And I'm telling you, Dungey, he's making a comeback right now.
Yeah, and Alessi, since he's not in the championship picture right now, Dungey's got to get him because he knows Villopoto, Reed, those are the guys that Dungey is got a battle with for this number 1 plate at the end of the year. So he's got to get through Alessi right now.
Yeah, that's right. If he wants to keep that number 1 plate, he's got to get past Alessi, and it's just a formality now. Look, I mean, he's really picking up the pace. He's reduced that 9-second gap, and Alessi, great riding, fantastic coming off that injury, but Dungey's going to get him, and he's going to move into that 3rd spot.
And Villopoto, about 16 seconds behind your leader. Alessi is just a few seconds back from that, and Dungey, as you can see, just a couple seconds right there. So for Dungey, second place is not out of the question. I mean, he is close enough. He's only about 6 seconds behind second, which is Villopoto.
Here is Dungey. Let's explain Alessi's situation again. Had a big crash and a concussion a couple weeks ago at our opener in California and had to go through, his dad said, one day, 15 hours of neurological tests, looking at numbers, colors, and testing his memory to make sure he was truly able to come back to racing. The last thing they want is these riders to come back too quick. Speaking of a comeback, here is Dungey after a fall, making the pass on Alessi and taking over third. That's just grit and determination at this point. Dungey making up huge championship points here after his mistake early. Now, we mentioned safety and the different things that this industry does to try to keep these riders in good shape. Well, this is a little bit different scenario here. Ian Treadle, one of our youngest riders out here, had a vicious crash at Daytona a few months ago. Go to allysports.com to find out more how you can help Ian Treadle recover from his injuries. Great thing the industry has done here to back one of the great young riders. Stay with us. Tomorrow night, coverage of the Stanley Cup Final continues on NBC. After Vancouver's win on Friday night, the series heads back to Boston as the Bruins host the Canucks in a pivotal Game 6. Stanley Cup Final presented by Geico tomorrow, 8 Eastern on NBC. Back to the racing action. It's the Rockstar Energy Drink High Point National, and Australia's Chad Reed is riding in a very muddy racetrack in Pennsylvania, making it look like it's his backyard. He's got this track dialed in, and we've been talking a lot about Reed's team situation, his mental situation. Feels good at the races. He built his own team. He's got people around him he likes, and it's paying off.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you only have to see in the pair here, he has the biggest line of fans coming up for his autograph. Right. And he gives them all the time they need. And like you say, you know, he's got a fantastic team. It's all brand new for him this year. So he's just giving it 100% because the guys behind him are giving him 100% too. So it's good to see Chad get this look. And it'd be great to see him back at the top of the sport. He's a fantastic ambassador in both America and Australia, and for basically motocross worldwide. So Chad Reed setting up his own team. Maybe that'll inspire a new generation of team owners.
Could be. Now, Chad Reed was the 2009 champion of this series. Last year was battling Dungey for the title and came down with an illness, Epstein-Barr virus. He had trained so hard, he basically wore himself into the ground, and Jeff not able to live up to his potential a season ago. Considered retirement. He's come back stronger than ever, it looks like, in 2011.
Well, I mean, I've been in Chad Reed's situation. At the end of my career in '99, I formed my own race team, and I know what that mentality is like. I know the drive and why he's racing, okay, and what he's doing, and I think it's just so awesome that he's having the opportunity here to surround himself with the people on the team and to have the success that he's having and how they're all enjoying it, all the way from his son and his wife and everyone else on the team. It's just been a pleasure, to see it happen.
Tiffany, what are you hearing on the 2-2 team of Chad Reed?
Well, you guys were just mentioning his passion and determination. It was briefly mentioned at the top of the show that he did take a rock to his left shoulder. In between Moto 1 and Moto 2, Chad sat inside of his truck with ice packaged all over his shoulder. It was bleeding. He now has a Band-Aid on it. They were hoping it wouldn't affect him. Clearly, from what it looks like, it hasn't. But again, that just goes to show you the determination he has to come out here and not let anything stop him from doing well.
All right, and Reed has got a pretty nice lead right now on second place, but second place, Villopoto, is not safe at all from Ryan Dungey, who has closed the gap, and we might have a battle between the Ryans for the #2 spot before it's over, Jeff.
Yeah, and they'll be coming over the top of this jump pretty quick. Look at the top of the screen. That's the countdown clock. Yeah. It's at 18 seconds right now, so next lap around, Reed will get the 2-lap board, so we got about 2.5 laps left in this race.
Okay, so Villopoto, Dungey, we expect to be close. There goes Dungey by. And did we lose Villopoto, or did we just miss him again? We can't even explain. Yeah, he just went. There's Villopoto. It's so muddy out here that the riders, a lot of times they pull in after a moto like this, and they don't know what position they even finished in. They're just trying to ride around and complete their laps.
Yeah, I think for Villopoto right now, it's got to be smooth sailing all the way home, because he knows he'll just see that pit board, he'll know Dungey's on his tail, and that's it. You know, he may get a little bit scared, he may put the hammer down, but for him, just stay smooth right now, because Dungey is charging, and out of the two, Dungey's more likely to make the mistake.
Yeah, but Dungey really has been, I mean, just riding fantastic this year. He's been really confident. He's been really fluid on the bike and riding like the champion that he is. Hey, this has been a strong ride for him here in the Rockstar Makita Suzuki team also.
Well, at the very top of the show, we saw him crash at the beginning of lap 2, and you mentioned that, you know, you get the handlebar down in the mud, and it's hard to even hold on to the bike. That could send your whole day south in a hurry. He's managed to overcome that.
So many laps, so many motos in the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship that, you know, you just go out and you keep plugging away every lap that you're on the track. You try as hard as you can, and you do the best you can.
So Ryan Dungey, kid out of Minnesota, 21 years old. He is in third, trying to run down the Washington State native, 22-year-old Ryan Villopoto, and in motocross terms, considered the old guy here, 29-year-old Chad Reed out of Australia, leading the way late at High Point. Last lap, Chad Reed in the center of your screen in the blue riding gear, and the red bike is leading the way. Can he hang on? It's going to be close. Let's get to know more about Chad Reed leading this race at High Point, trying to deliver a victory.
Started racing when I was 4, and that was, I mean, that's all I ever known. It's all I've ever remembered, you know, just going to the races, you know, as an amateur, traveling, you know, Australia. I started traveling internationally when I was 11 years old, and that was awesome, just a blast, you know, to be 11. I was flying to Indonesia to do quite a bit of racing, off to New Zealand. When I was 13 or 14, I got to go to England. Always wanted to come to the U.S., you know, like it was always the goal. You know, looking back at it, you know, sure, I missed out on a lot of things, but, you know, for where I am today and for the fortunate things that I have to look back on, it's one of those things where I don't feel like I got to miss a whole lot. I feel like I've built a really strong team and just a great group of people, and we enjoy racing for I feel the right reasons. We just love it. And really, that's why we're here. That's why we're going racing in the Outdoor Nationals. At the end of the day, I have a family to look after, and you have to look at the budgets, and you have to look at what's affordable and what's not affordable. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to be at the couch and watching it on live television. Although I'm excited that we have live television, I didn't want to be at home watching it on the couch.
Okay, Ryan Villopoto was second, was 11 seconds behind. Now on the last lap, he got it within 4. So if Reed wants to hang on and win this moto, he has got to go error-free in these last couple of turns, Jeff.
Well, the pressure's on right now, and you start to sense that, and you can feel it from all the fans that are here still cheering him on. There's Villopoto in the background, so any mistake by Chad Reed, and he could give up this moto win. There's Weimer, Villopoto's teammate.
Just went a lap down, Jamie. It's tough. Reed's got to pick it back up.
It really is tough because Villopoto's got the bit between his teeth now, and he's really trying to make moves on Chad Reed. And we're coming down. This is the last lap. If Reed gets squirrely, if he gets out of shape anywhere,
yeah,
big things are going to happen for Villopoto.
You basically have 2 lap riders between Reed and Villopoto. Villopoto would basically be the 4th rider you'd see in your screen. Here is Reed jumping downhill. He could be home free from here and some of the toughest conditions you can possibly race a motorcycle on. A lot of riders fell. Chad Reed stayed strong. He stayed consistent, and he will win here at High Point Raceway in Pennsylvania. Doesn't matter what the conditions are. Chad Reed is tough to beat in 2011. There's a mechanic, Lars. Sir Chad, they say. And, yeah, he might be the older guy of these championship contenders, but he's been the stronger one so far this year, too.
And, guys, look at the mud clumps on top of his helmet, on the mouth guard, all over the front of the bike, and especially in his eyes.
Final margin of victory, 5.8 seconds, so Reed actually distanced himself from Villopoto down the stretch. There's Villopoto in the number 2 spot. Dungey taking 3rd, and congratulating your winner. We have just completed a very, very tough day of racing in the mud and the hills of Pennsylvania. This man, Ryan Villopoto, will come out on top once we do all the math. We'll show you how this second moto turned out with our Lucas Oil race recap.
Off the start here in Moto 2, Dungey gets there first, but Mike Alessi on the KTM sweeps around the outside. Looked like he had the race in hand.
Yeah, and then Dungey in second fell at the beginning of lap 2, so Alessi had a big lead. Riders falling all over the place in the mud, including Davi Millsaps, who was running up front. Just treacherous conditions, and that eventually zapped Alessi. Chad Reed stayed on 2 wheels all the way through and held on to win the moto over Ryan Villopoto and Dungey. So good luck continues to roll Chad Reed's way. And hey, you got to earn the good luck in motocross. And on a tough race day like this, Chad Reed definitely earned this victory. After Villopoto and Dungey, Alessi, after his crash, held on for fourth. Nice job by the veteran 33-year-old Kevin Windham in fifth. Ricky Dietrich, a converted off-road rider, now racing motocross, sixth. Tommy Hahn, seventh. Way, Metcalfe, and Weimer round out the top 10. And Tiffany has Chad Reed on the podium. Tiffany?
Chad, no goggles. You had a banged-up shoulder, a rough Moto 1. What kind of a challenge was this for you today?
That was a tough challenge, but that's when you got to dig deep, you know, and we had tough conditions. The track was so slippery, and Alessi was just willing to let it hang out, and then I just had to get into a pace, and I think he might have got caught up with a lapper or something like that and went down. So I just tried to put some good laps in and then just control the race. It was so hard and had to take off my goggles, and man, just hats off to all the guys for regrouping and making it better. You know, all the guys at Bellray, TwoTwo Motorsports, American Honda, Mitch from PC, all the guys at FX for making my bike look awesome, and I'm just, you know, pumped to get another moto win. I was really disappointed after the first one.
Congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Guys.
Thanks, Tiffany. Let's show you the overall results when we combine race 1 and race 2. Villopoto, who won that first one, is going to edge Dungey and Reed. So Reed has a 1-race win today, but the overall for the weekend goes to Ryan Villopoto, and he's got to be happy about that after struggling through the first 2 rounds. And Mike Alessi, 4th in his comeback to the series. But let's talk to our overall race winner, Ryan Villopoto. Tiffany?
Ryan, earlier you told me that you felt you needed to back up Moto 1 by doing a good job here at Moto 2. Placing the way that you did, what does that say to and send a message to the rest of the field?
You know, it was pretty crazy. As soon as we lined up on the gate, the skies opened up pretty hard, and then the track is just like, you know, it's so slippery. It's just survival. So we got a good start, and it was decent. And then, you know, just kind of picked some guys off and ended up second there, you know. I seen Chad. I really couldn't do a whole lot with that, but, you know, just can't thank everybody at Monster Energy Kawasaki, Dunlop Tires for getting me out to a great start, Thor, Alpenstars, Oakley, Vans, Maxima, Renthal, Falcon, and Volcom. Thank you, guys.
Congrats to you, guys.
Let's check out the upcoming schedule here on Ally Sports. Got lots of great things coming your way, and that includes more motocross on the July 4th weekend at Redbud and the Pantech Open at the end of July, and more motocross racing in August from Unadilla. Let's go back to the podium with Tiffany.
All right, Ryan, things didn't start off the way you wanted to them. What happened?
You know, I got off to a good start, and the track was greasy. You know, didn't do a hot lap, just tried to keep the mud light, or the bike light, to get a good start. But right up there on the start, ended up throwing it down there. Just front end started going, and it just went more than I thought. And then again, over the hump over here, just I landed another time, went out. But you know, it's racing. The mud's kind of unpredictable. You know, kind of just got to use what you learn. But had a great time and pumped on the day. And congrats to everybody.
Congrats to you, guys.
Well, the key to motocross is being consistent in all conditions through 2 races in the afternoon. Ryan Villopoto wins one in the dry. Chad Reed wins one in the wet. It was great racing regardless of what the weather had in store for us, and we're glad you folks are able to enjoy it with us. For Tiffany Simons, Jamie Bestwick, Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Racing. From High Point in Pennsylvania, congratulations to our race winners, Chad Reed and Ryan Villopoto. Through 2 rounds of the 2011 championship, the Pro Circuit Kawasaki team has captured their early season momentum. At Hangtown, the green team unveiled their latest superstar, Grand Terrace, California's Blake Baggett. Blake Baggett wins Hangtown! Incredible! At round 2 in Texas, former world champion Tyler Rattray got the job done for his 3rd career overall win in America. Tyler Rattray wins the 2nd moto here in Texas, and with that he should go 2-1 to take the overall. And while he has yet to taste victory in the young season, Dean Wilson leads the championship standings heading into round 3. It's time to drop the gate on 250 Motocross from historic High Point Raceway. Welcome to High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Round 3 of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. The 250 class coverage continues with the Rockstar Energy Drink, High Point National in the rolling hills of southwestern Pennsylvania. Hello, everyone. Jason Wygant, Jeff Emig, and to give you the call, as always, on speed. What has been a very exciting 250 series so far should get even better today. And we'll give you an idea of what we have in store for the racing as we look at the big picture. These are the storylines that we're going to be following at High Point. And we have an even bigger picture that is rolled in with a big weather front that has turned this track very muddy for the second moto. But the stories coming into this one, the dominance of the Pro Circuit team. They have won the first 2 rounds of racing. The boys in green and the Kawasaki's have been dominant thus far. They've won the races. They lead the championship standings. And Marvin Musquin, watch this. Oh! The Frenchman, who was expected to contend for the championship this year, broke his thumb in that crash. Justin Barsha, Honda rider, went down, and his bike went flying into Musquin. Musquin will not be here. He's expected to be out at least 8 weeks. So too bad for the friendly Frenchman. We will not be able to see him in action today from Pennsylvania. Now, one of the other international riders is making waves. Tyler Rattray, the veteran from South Africa, won our last race of the tour from Texas and won this race in Pennsylvania last year. Rattray is second in the series standings coming into this event, but he is definitely beginning to feel it in his 3rd year of racing in America. So, Tyler Rattray, can he repeat and win 2 in a row at High Point? Well, definitely these track conditions being so muddy and so gnarly are definitely going to play in his favor. Let's talk to and learn more about Tyler Rattray.
It's always been a dream of mine as a kid, watching on TV, the guys like McGrath, Emig, Rick Johnson, all of them racing here in America. And when you're a kid, that's all you want to do, is you want to go over there and you want to be like them. And yeah, I'm really blessed to be in the position I am in, and to be over here in America and racing on such a professional level. Obviously, it takes a lot of hard work and determination to get to this level, but once you've reached it and you're successful, like a lot of us are, it's really awesome. Obviously, for me, it takes also a lot of sacrifices. I've given up everything I had in South Africa. I moved to Belgium for 8 years and managed to win a world championship there, and then came over here and now racing for Mitch's team. And obviously, this is not South Africa, but this is where the gold crown of motocross is in America, and I'm just really blessed to be here and racing in America.
Let's give you the 411 on how motocross works. We race 2 races in each class every weekend. This is your 250 class for 250cc engines. Each moto lasts 30 minutes and 2 laps. We'll total up the scores from both races to determine an overall winner for the day. And in case the scores are tied through the first 2 motos, we will break that tie with the better score in the second race. And now we'll give you an idea what the track looks like here at High Point. Jeff Emig, take us for a lap.
Well, yeah, here's what it looks on paper, basically. You got this really steep uphill start that's really deep. Earlier today in qualifying practice, the track was in really good shape. During the first moto, this hard clay really packed down, and some of the off-camber turns got really slippery. Some lines have formed. Not really that rough today, but since Moto 1 here leading into Moto 2, the skies opened up. We had quite a bit of rain come down, and so now the track's going to be really, really wet, muddy, slippery, and it's going to become much more difficult than what it was here for Darren Durham with our GoPro on board. This is earlier today in qualifying practice. So you can see how some of these ruts start to form on the off-camber turns. Now that it's wet and muddy out there, those ruts are going to be even deeper, even softer, and it's going to be really choppy.
So Darren Durham, very strong here. He knows the short way around this track because he's born and raised in Pennsylvania. Grew up here racing this track as a kid on the mini-size motorcycles, and still running strong today.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the tougher sections on the track here for Moto 2, as all these rollers, the riders are going to be riding real high, but as that line starts to get beat up and it gets burnt out, you're going to have to find some new lines on the track.
So there's the bike of Darren Durham, the 37, the mechanics going to work there. Give us the keys to the race and tell us what Darren Durham needs to do here today at High Point.
Well, he led a majority of Moto 1, which was his first time up front. As always, got to get a good start, but the track is so wet and sloppy and so much mud, the whole shot's going to be key. 1110 Mods builds his engine. You know, they got that thing tuned to perfection, and use the home track knowledge. I'm sure he's ridden here plenty of times at local races growing up as an amateur where he's had to ride in these conditions. Believe in himself. He can win a moto if he gets out front again.
So that's your Rocky Mountain ATV MC keys to the race. Let's send it down to Aaron Bates on the start with a progressive pre-race report.
Even though the number 25 of Ryan Villopoto has been riding extremely well, he's yet to score a point so far this season. At the first race in Hangtown, he crashed Moto number 1, injured his wrist, and then last time we saw him was at Freestone when he pulled a muscle in his back. But just during Moto number 1, he cross-rutted with just a few laps to go while he was in second spot, and he ended up slamming his head pretty hard, gave himself a concussion. I caught up with him while he's walking out of the Asterix medical unit, and the docs advised him to sit out this moto and next weekend at Budds Creek as well. Championship's hopes are dwindling for Ryan Villopoto.
Let's go racing here in Pennsylvania. And one of the Kawasaki's on the inside. I think that's going to be Tyler Rattray. And then his teammate Dean Wilson battling for it. And it's going to be Wilson on the 15, outbraking Rattray to grab the lead.
I'm not sure if he outbraked him, but he came in there so hot, Rattray clipped him, and Wilson kept the Kawasaki on the track and therefore took the lead.
So the two teammates battling it out, and you got to watch out for the 36 Cole Seeley right there on the outside on the Lucas Oil Troy Lee Honda. He will split the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki boys. Wait a minute, Blake Baggett, where'd he come from? He won the first moto today, and he's gotten around Rattray, and now also Seeley. He's up to second. So Blake Baggett, this is the best start of the year we've seen for him. Now we're looking for Wilson.
Looks like Nico Izzy, 42 there on the Honda with another good start. Grabbed the whole shot in Moto 1.
And you see the towels waving right now. The Kawasaki boys continue to have it going their way as it's Baggett, Seeley, Rattray, and Izzy. Dean Wilson leading them around. You see Wilson already getting a bit of a gap built up.
Looks like Malcolm Stewart just behind Izzy, and definitely one of the Geico riders.
And we're going to try to check in with the leader. Wilson was able to make a move and get around Rattray, and Baggett is in the lead. So we did not see Wilson. All right, we do have a replay of what happened to Dean Wilson. He led this thing for about 3 turns.
Oh, okay, so this is over that hip double. Wilson's still out front at this point. Oh, and then he catches a rut or something and goes down with the lead.
It's a bizarre
Watch
crash.
right here. Oh, his right hand came off the bars.
Oh.
Definitely an unexpected hit or something when he landed off of that double.
Yeah, normally one of the safer areas of the track. So just like that, Wilson goes from the lead to way back. He crashed in the first lap. That's bad news.
Yeah, in Moto 1, it looked like Wilson had the speed to win this thing, and his teammate here, Blake Baggett, just blazed through, took the moto on the podium. Wilson looked a little disappointed. Strong ride, second, but disappointed. He's going to be furious now if he gives up the lead, giving up the lead here on Moto 1. I mean,
lap 1.
On the flap 1, yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to be way, way back because the riders are obviously so close at the beginning of the race. You go down, you can find yourself going from first to last. Let's focus in on this battle for second, Cole Seeley and Tyler Rattray. And then right behind them, you have Izzy and Malcolm Stewart. And I don't know, you give Baggett the advantage like this off the start. He's been so strong coming through the pack late in the races. I can't imagine what he could do leading early. Oh, this track is so rutted, Jeff. These guys having a tough time getting through that corner.
Well, and at this point, they're trying to stay in the main groove. Now, we had a 450 moto just before this, after it had rained, and the 450s, the track was pretty wet and sloppy everywhere. Now there's a couple of lines that have grooved in on the track. Problem with that is that everybody's going to be forced to go to that one line until that line wears out. Whoa, Seeley airing out the double here.
And Rattray does not, but Rattray on the inside did not lose too much ground. Feeling their way around, this track just changed so much from when they rode earlier today. It was all wet and muddy after rain in between the races, so totally different track than what we had before.
Looks like Izzy down at the top of the screen back there. Some yellow flags flying. There's Rattray.
So Rattray in third, trying to keep the heat on Seeley while Baggett gets away. And yes, we have lost Nico Izzy, who was fourth from that group due to a crash.
That's going to allow Malcolm Stewart to slide up into the fourth position. Great run for Malcolm, who's just at the top of the screen here, just behind Rattray.
Yeah, and he's just getting started as a pro. Malcolm, this is only his third ever pro motocross race, so good for him. He's definitely getting stronger and more consistent week to week. But Blake Baggett leading them around early at High Point. Cole Seeley said he's sick and tired of these Kawasaki boys dominating. He wants to split them, and he's doing it right now.
If you ride a
Pro Motocross Championship is brought to you Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Just under an hour north of our track here in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania, which is basically right on the Mason-Dixon line, straddling state border between Pennsylvania and West Virginia. And Blake Baggett, who is from all the way out in California, you expect, man, the muddy conditions might be tough on him. Not at all. Leading the way around here at Mount Morris.
I'm telling you, we spend a lot of time in SoCal there on our local tracks. It's pretty hard packed, dry slick. Then they bring the water truck by and soak it down.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So everybody thinks that we're out there in the desert. I'm telling you, young Blake Baggett has had a lot of practice on conditions like this.
Tyler Rattray has made the move around Cole Seeley to get back into second. Still a good run for Seeley, who won a couple of races in the Supercross Tour indoors earlier this year. Has been off to a so-so start, but not able to get on the podium yet in motocross. So right now he is there in third. That's a podium position. But he's got Malcolm Stewart, Justin Barcia behind him, and a long, long, long way to go.
And as the names scroll across the top of your screen there, our first moto leader for the majority of the race, Darren Durham, is setting in 21st right now. So not quite the start that he needed.
No. Yeah, that was the star of the show in our first moto because he's a local guy, but it's so hard to back it up and put in two strong motos, especially when you're talking, Jeff, about young riders such as this, the 139 of Malcolm Stewart. That's his James Stewart's younger brother, first year as a professional, and basically then only his third pro motocross race. Doing a good job here in fourth, but Justin Barcia on the 17, the red Honda, putting some heat on from the number 5 spot. And Barcia won a moto here last year. Kind of tough go of it in Moto 1 here earlier today. He has his teammate Eli Tomac right behind him in 6th. And that's kind of where Tomac has been all year, 4th, 5th, 6th. That's not where Tomac was expected to be. A lot of people thought he'd be winning motos right off the bat. Right now, he's just trying to duke it out with his teammate Barcia and the 139 of Stewart.
I tell you, just at the top of your screen there, which would be your right now, I'm really impressed with Alex Martin, 46. He's running in 7th place and hanging right here with some of the factory guys listening.
Yeah, Alex Martin is the teammate of Darren Durham. That's a local team. They don't have support from Factory Honda or anything like that. 1110 Mods and Morgantown Power Sports helping out Alex Martin and Darren Durham. Durham almost won the first race today, and Martin running inside the top 10 here in the second one. So that team's got to be happy. And let's talk about this. Barcia putting pressure on the 139 of Stewart. However, this is a different Malcolm Stewart, Jeff, than we saw at Hangtown when he led the first lap of the year, then dropped way back. Just logging solid laps here.
Yeah, he's putting in a strong ride here, and you see Barcia, he's from back east, so he's had plenty of practice and everything in his life riding in the mud here, but just not quite the starts that they need to be up front leading this moto and contend with the pro circuit guys.
All right, so that's 5th Barcia, and like we mentioned, behind him is his teammate Tomac. Let's see how long Stewart can hang with this pace. He went all out, spent all his energy early. Meanwhile, Barcia's had a rough go of it. Oh, he's making the pass. Going to the inside. He's got Stewart. He's got 4th. Aaron, what are you hearing on the number 17 of Justin Barcia?
Well, guys, the whole team of the number 17 has been keeping it kind of quiet, but apparently Justin Barcia has been suffering from an ear infection for the past 2 weeks. He did start a cycle of antibiotics just 3 days ago, but he said he is feeling slightly fatigued. Something is definitely wearing him down. But on top of that, he decided that this moto, he is definitely going to be sporting a chest protector, because after that first moto, you should have seen his chest. He looked like he'd been pelted with pellets. He said the roost is something fierce out there today.
Wow, it's a lot of issues to deal with for Barcia.
Yeah, and as far as that roost, earlier today, In the first moto, that roost was looser and, I mean, it was like a shotgun blast. Now, here in the second moto, this mud is a lot wetter, so it kind of softens the blow a little bit, takes a little bit of the sting out of it, but you can see there's plenty of roost coming up off the back tires of these machines.
And we saw Tomac and Alex Martin, who we mentioned earlier, and then finally we're seeing the number 20 making a move right now. A mistake by Martin, and that will put Brock Tickle one position further up. Tickle is your West Region Supercross champ in this 250 class, but we haven't seen much of him up front outdoors. He has really struggled to get starts so far this year, Jeff.
Yeah, just has not been up front. He's had to ride from the back the whole time, and that's tough because this is such a talented group of young riders.
Now Tomac on the 19, the Honda going after Stewart to move one position further forward, and if you're Tomac, you want to hold off Tickle, because that was a bitter feud down to the end of that Supercross Championship, which Tickle eventually won, and Tomac ended up second. He doesn't want Tickle to pass him here, so he's now going after Stewart.
Now in this situation, you can see that there definitely is a dry racing line. There'd be a couple of lines right here where it kind of opens up, and Barsha was not able to make the pass. But what you have to focus on is applying the pressure to the rider in front of you, forcing him into a mistake, to force him out of the line or to do something wrong. Then you can take over the fast line.
Yeah, so that's Tomac there on the 19, keeping the heat on Stewart, Tickle behind them, and then in front of them was Justin Barsha, who made the move on Stewart. So Barsha's fourth, Cole Seeley still third, Rattray second, Blake Baggett leading them around. Kind of waiting for Eli Tomac to get hot here. Started out the year so brilliantly a year ago by winning his first ever pro race at our season opener in Hangtown. We have not seen quite that same level of fire from Tomac since. He hasn't won a race since. And here he's making some moves, and he's going to get Stewart. So that'll put him into fifth, but we expected this guy to be winning races, not just going for top fives.
Yeah, so last lap around, Barsha goes around, or goes through the inside of Stewart there, and then this lap around, Stewart guards the inside, and Tomac goes around the outside.
So welcome to the pros, and you have relatively experienced guys. Tomac's on year 2 as a pro, and Stewart's just getting started. So great racing out here, as always, in the 250 class. Blake Baggett leading the way. What do you verge of the 24 hours of Le Mans continues right here on Speed. Winning this epic race takes more than skill. You must have strategy, endurance, and luck. Live coverage of the 24 Hours of Le Mans continues tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern on Speed, and continues straight through the checkered flag. Don't miss it. We almost missed this guy, Darren Durham, who is in 15th right now, and that's a big difference from what he had in Moto 1. Let's review the Rocky Mountain keys to the race, Jeff, for Darren.
Good start. Nope.
No.
Didn't quite get to start. He was well outside of the top 20 at one point, moved up to 14th now. I do believe that he's using some of the home track knowledge of watching some of his lines. He's not really staying in that main groove, and where the ruts are deep, he's kind of using some lines that other riders might not know about.
Now, earlier today in Moto 1, it was a whole lot better than 15th. This guy was leading it, and we'll show you with our Lucas Oil highlights of the first Moto. There's Durham all the way lined up on the inside, gets a pretty good start. Nico Izzi is going to lead them to the stripe. But then Durham on 37, going to go around the outside, switch it up, get around Nico Izzi, get the lead, and then put the hammer down, Jeff.
And Durham took off. His lap times are fantastic, and midway through the race, it looked like he really had this thing handled.
Ryan Sipes will move past Izzi to get into second. Put a little pressure on Durham, but then a few laps in, Durham had his rhythm, started pulling away, then makes a big mistake, loses the ground that he had opened up, but Sipes in second crashes out. So that leaves Durham with a big lead again, but Blake Baggett down the stretch just putting in phenomenal lap times. He catches Durham, Durham makes a mistake, Baggett's going to steal the lead, and then another mistake from Durham, takes a bad line there, and that allows Dean Wilson to take over the number 2 spot. It was tough down the stretch for Durham.
But he stayed in it, but nobody could touch Blake Baggett in Moto number 1.
No, unbelievable. What Baggett has been able to do down the stretch in these races has been impressive, but he has had problems. Look at the helmet. That is not the way the visor's supposed to look on the helmet. Must have taken on a crash there. So, man, we thought that this guy was almost invincible if you could just give him a good start, but now you see he's behind Cole Seeley. So it has been all sorts of shaking up here in Pennsylvania.
That's crazy. You look at Blake Baggett's helmet visor, and it almost looks like that it was bolted on backwards.
Yeah, I don't know how you could crash and make the thing flip like that. I don't understand.
Unless both of the side bolts are off.
Well, he doesn't care, by the way. He's going after Sealy anyway, trying to make passes. I believe that would get him back up to second because Rattray was in front of Sealy.
So if both of the side bolts broke off,
okay,
and it spun around on the center bolt, that's how it would still be attached upside down.
But impressive that it actually rotated perfectly 180 degrees. It's backwards, but it's perfectly straight backwards. He didn't care. He's going to be taking a lot of risks because the visor can't catch it. So he just better start making passes, and he does. So now he doesn't have to worry about the dirt coming off the back wheel of Sealy. What a recovery.
Well, Rattray has just crossed the finish line, and so that's going to put him, well, Baggett's going to come by about 8.9 seconds behind the leader. Clearly in the first moto, Baggett had the speed to do whatever he wanted with the competitors and his teammates. So now with 12 minutes plus 2 laps left in this moto, we'll see if the 57 can get that drive back again, get focused, and go after the leader, his teammate Tyler Rattray.
Well, yeah, Jeff, this has been the portion of the race, the second half, where Baggett has really made his mark. But after a crash, is it really the same circumstances? Can he bounce back, or does it take you out of your rhythm?
It all depends. It can go either way. Right now, it looks like Baggett's, he's just fine outside of that visor being in the condition that it is. And, you know, the toughest thing may be, you know, maybe his friends kind of jabbing him about having his helmet stick or his visor sticking straight up when they watch the show.
And there it is. He is down. The damage already done to the visor. And then this is tough to wrestle the bike uphill like that.
Yeah, because it's muddy and it's wet, but notice he keeps the...
trying to figure out where he went. Now the goal is you have to get back on the track where you came off.
Well, he came
Did he
down
go that
the hill
far
there.
off the track? Oh, okay. He went off the track to the right.
It's hard to say. That it actually looked like it was just behind the start line area.
Man, so you have to re-enter the track as safe as you can. Sometimes it's hard to go backwards uphill. Either way, we know this. Tyler Rattray is leading the race. I don't know about the overall. We're confused enough as to how it's going out here right now. So we'll just tell you this. Rattray leading Baggett and Sealy. Stay tuned. Moment in the 2011 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 Pacific only on Fox. Dean Wilson has the red background to his number 15. Why? Because he is your series points leader. But it's going to be hard to hold that points lead by the end of the day. He crashed on the first lap of this race, and he has had to fight his way through traffic. He is currently in the number 9 position, and the man who is second in points, Tyler Rattray, is leading this race.
Wilson right here, top of your screen, 35 seconds behind your leader. Group's actually pretty tight, especially just in front of Wilson. Stewart's right there, Martin and Barsha and Tickle are right there within arm's reach. 9 minutes plus 2 laps to go. The pace that Wilson is riding at the moment, if he keeps on this pace and doesn't make any mistakes, he could catch those riders and possibly get inside the top 5.
Battle is on here. Eli Tomac and making tracks and going after Cole Sealy. So Justin Barsha, who was in 4th, he has had his problems. He's dropped to the back of this train. 36 is Sealy. 19 is Tomac. We're finally seeing Eli Tomac turning on the kind of speed that people expected to see from him in 2011. But Sealy's going to do his best to hold him back.
A couple of Honda riders going at it. Look at Tomac. He's got some alternate lines. He's moving around a bit, and he's going to have to do that if he makes his way past Cole Sealy, who's ridden a really steady race here. He hasn't made any big mistakes. Just riding a nice pace inside of the fast line.
All right, so Tomac has got plenty of time to make this happen. You see the countdown clock top of the screen, 8 minutes and 2 laps left in this one. But with all the rain and the mud we have here, Jeff, what happens? Do you have to stick to one line? Can you try different things on this track?
Well, Eli has made some passes, so he knows that he's got some spots like right here.
Wow, nicely done around the outside, leaping into 3rd. Aaron Bates, what are you hearing on the number 19 of Eli Tomac?
Guys, he had mentioned how frustrated he was after that first moto. He said he just wasted way too much time trying to get past anybody that was in front of him. He said by the time the front runners get out in front, it's just too far for him to catch up. So it's crucial for him to get a good start, like he had said, but it wasn't the best of starts for Eli. I would imagine he's going to be the same frustration as he was during that first moto.
Yeah, Jason, and now, Aaron's exactly right, but he's in a podium position for this moto, but the leaders are still about 20 seconds out. So not getting that start, especially on a wet, sloppy track like this, really puts you at a disadvantage, but he's done a great job of clawing himself into the top 3.
Well, we saw the graphic. His last lap, he was actually a half of a second quicker than Rattray. But when you're 20 seconds behind him, you're not going to be able to catch the guy, only making up half a second. In other words, not getting the start made all the difference. He has the speed here down the stretch, but he's going to need those guys to make huge mistakes if he wants to make a bid for the win. Dropping into the valley here, and they're headed to what they call the hip jump, as you're kind of turning and jumping at the same time.
Ooh, a little short there.
Yeah.
And that's your body, your wrist, ankles, knees, back takes such a beating when you come up short on a big double like that.
Okay, that's Tomac, Colorado kid, who's actually been riding and training in Texas quite a bit at Andrew Short's house. Short, one of the riders that races in our 450 class. Last year as a rookie, Tomac struggled in the hot and humid races. So they decided instead of training in the altitude of Colorado, we're going to train in the heat in Texas. And you got to figure maybe a little more measured approach to the championship this year, Jeff. They came out really strong early and then kind of spent all their energy too early in the series last year. So do you expect maybe a surge later in the year from Tomac this year?
Well, it's all about building that foundation and ramping it up. And okay, if you started the season at one point, how do we improve with each passing race to where that once we hit the halfway point, now we're ready to start winning some races? Because especially in this class, if you can get hot by Redbud and start winning races, you can close up that gap. Whatever points you lost the first half, you can make it up and more by the time you get to the finish.
Bro, you had mentioned about spending too much energy. Well, a guy that had told me that he's suffering from arm pump during Moto 1 was Dean Wilson. He said he exerted a ton of energy trying to make a pass on his teammate, Tyler Rattray. But he said one of these things during this crash, during this moto, it's going to be a tough deal for him to catch up. He needs to stay calm and breathe in order to finish off this moto.
Yeah, Aaron, great report there. And because think about it, if Dean Wilson did that in the first moto, now he starts outside of the top 10, is moved up to 8th now. How's he going to be feeling after this one?
Well, good news, Dean. We don't have 3 races. You can have 6 days to recover before the next round. There's Eli Tomac. He is all alone in 3rd. Cole Seeley behind him. Blake Baggett in front of him, and Tyler Rattray leading them around at High Point. Fans here have been treated to some great racing, unpredictable racing, most importantly, today. Soil AMA Pro Motocross Champion. Looking at the 28 of Tyler Rattray in a 250 class that is generally ruled by young kids fresh out of the amateur ranks, a lot of them not even in their 20s yet. You got this guy, a veteran from South Africa, leading them.
But we do have a second-year rider.
Oh, no, not again. Is he doing it again?
He's back. Look at the top of your screen. There's the 57, Blake Baggett, who seemingly at will can turn faster lap times than anyone on the track by like 3 or 4 seconds.
You're not supposed to be able to do that. It's supposed to be tenths of a second here and there. He makes up multiple seconds per lap, and here he comes again.
He's going for the W. He already has one in Moto 1 today. He was your winner, so he's got 2 minutes, 40 seconds, plus 2 laps, possibly. So roughly about 6 minutes of racing here.
And he's doing it against Rattray, who is known as maybe the strongest, fittest, steadiest rider in this 250 class, and Baggett doesn't care. Second half of these races, even after a crash this time, he finds his rhythm, he finds his flow, and he has gone from what? About 10 seconds back to 2.5 seconds back.
He has just completely been on fire here today. Shown speed that other riders just don't. Oh, look at the lapped rider. I thought he was going to come on in front of him, but see right here, he nails the hip double, and look how much time he picks up on his teammate.
This is crazy.
2 minutes to go.
What kind of confidence does it give you when you could not see the leader, and then all of a sudden he's on the horizon and you can read the jersey?
Yeah, he's just in the zone right now. That's just, I mean, you're in that position and you just can seem to ride at this pace with this intensity that, and nobody else can match you. And that's really what it comes down to. He's driven, He's got a high intensity, and he is charging all the way.
Maybe he's got an aerodynamic advantage. He's got good downforce with the way that flies over. I don't understand how you thought maybe the crash should be the one thing that could take him out of his rhythm. Nope, it's the classic Blake Baggett story. Ladder laps, no one can match this kid's lap times, and now he's just trying to find a line to make a pass on Rattray. He's done the damage, he's caught it.
Well, and that's Baggett can do this because of fitness, and because he trains with intensity, he practices with intensity, he becomes accustomed to having his heart rate and his breathing patterns in this situation, which are bound to be maxed out at this point, but just drawing some great lines around the track. Just
here it comes. Big valley. They're going to jump back out and head toward the finish line stretch. Baggett on the outside. Can he pass him here? Rattray's going to take the line away, and Rattray, boy, he is being stubborn with his teammate. Just held him pinned all the way up around the outside. Another left-hand turn coming up.
Unbelievable that Baggett stayed in it on the outside. There he goes.
And he still makes the pass. So Blake Baggett takes the lead from Tyler Rattray, and Rattray did everything he could to prevent that from happening.
He pushed Baggett all the way to the yellow markers. There was no more room left. Baggett never backed off the throttle. I mean, just fearless riding out of the 57 Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider, Blake Baggett. I'm speechless.
You mentioned the fitness. You don't get much stronger than Tyler Rattray. I mean, that guy is as fit and as strong as it comes, and even he has no answer for Baggett late in these races.
Speed and intensity. Right now, Baggett is just riding at a different level than anyone else on the track.
Unbelievable. Well, one thing that hasn't changed is Kawasaki up front. That team has been there all year long. It's just a different rider on the bike leading it right now. Mitch Payton, Greg King, they're happy about what their team's doing right now. California leading round 3 at the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship from High Point Raceway. It's the Rockstar Energy Drink National. That's not the way a motocross helmet is supposed to look. This kid was leading the race, crashed, obviously head first, damaged the helmet, got back up, made up ground, passed Tyler Rattray, and is now back at the #1 spot, Jeff Emig.
Yeah, this has been just such an impressive ride. As he comes by these rollers, watch it, just comes by yet another lap ride. That looks like Nico Izzy that he's by. But Baggett has just flowed around this track as the track went away and it got more rutted and more difficult. He just never backed off the intensity. He's been so confident on the bike. He just does whatever he wants with the machine.
Now I'm going to throw this one at you. The other riders on the Pro Circuit team all weigh about the same. They're 160-some pounds. You got Tickle and Rattray, who are really stout-built guys. You got the long, lanky Dean Wilson. And then you got this kid who is short and skinny. He's lightweight. And there have been some rumblings that he has an advantage because they're all on identical equipment otherwise. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Well, they say great things come in small packages. I don't know. Hey, it is what it is. You know, we're all built differently, and you use whatever you have. I mean, you know, he could use excuse, hey, well, I'm just not as big and strong as you guys. Okay, so, but physical fitness, he is obviously doing the work with his trainer, Eldon Baker, and just really showing determination. And, you know, you can't ride a motorcycle like this without putting in the hard work, training, building your strength, doing your motos, and preparing yourself mentally for you know, these type of races.
And you might think with a kid that has this kind of speed and talent, that this was predestined and he was going to dominate races like this, but it wasn't quite so easy. He was good as an amateur, won some races, but didn't exactly dominate. And then when he graduated, Kawasaki only had room for one rider on this team. They picked Wilson. So Baggett rode for Suzuki last year, got a podium at this race at High Point, and that really sealed the deal as we get to our last lap here. Then people knew, okay, as a pro, he's got something special. Then they had an opening in the team when some other riders graduated up to the 450 ranks this year. Baggett's on the squad. He's repaying them with victories. So Mitch Payton, man, unbelievable what this team has done this year. This might be their best year yet, and they've won so many darn races. Check it out. Mitch had to watch this. Two teammates almost taking each other down, Jeff.
Yeah, and Baggett was almost out, off the track, and just the next turn, he just stays right in it. Just confident. I mean, that's the type of riding and the type of confidence around other riders that you usually see from riders that have 20 wins under their belt, or they've dominated the complete series for a year or two, and they just feel like they belong in front, and hey, you guys are in the way. This is the first time here in the last month we've seen Baggett at the opening round ride like this. Had a couple of problems here and there in the next couple races, but just dominating once again. He has a feeling of belonging that, hey, this is my series. I'm going to take control of this thing.
Wow. Yeah, he has a 7.3-second lead now over Rattray. Tomac third, Sealy and Tickle rounding out in the top 5. Wilson has climbed his way up to 8th. Now, the problem for Baggett is the points. Terrible weekend last time we raced, which was at Freestone in Texas. He was leading the first moto, crashed, so he didn't knock himself out completely, didn't have a concussion, but he was a little bit wobbly in the second moto, so he tried to survive and just score some points. So he won the first round. It appears he's going to win the third one, but that tough day at round 2 means that Rattray and Wilson will still be ahead of him in the series standings, but you just keep riding like this, and you'll erase that points deficit quick.
Yeah, that's the best way. Just go win the motos. Each moto to win pays 25 points. Baggett on the day today is going to get maximum amount of points, and there's still going to be 9 races, 18 more motos in this championship before we figure out who the 2011 250 champion will be.
Yeah, and it's so hard to predict. You know, last year at this time, Trey Canard was struggling, had a bunch of crashes at this race in the rain, and was really having a tough time. And then halfway through the year, he caught fire and came from way back in points to take the championship. So hard to predict what's going to happen over the long haul, but we can predict this. He's going to win this race. Blake Baggett wins at High Point, and he wins both motos, so that makes the math easy on us. And I think Mitch is even surprised at what this kid's doing in the second half of these races. Can't take the goggles off because of the visor being pointed the wrong direction, but he's pointed the right direction to get to the podium. We'll talk to him when we return. They become available, sent right to your phone. Text MOTO to Speed 3 for the alerts now. Give the recap here of our 250 class racing, the Lucas Oil race recap of the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship. Here's how this one went down. Critical to get a start on a muddy race day like this. Kawasaki's battling up front. Tyler Rattray had the lead. Dean Wilson steals it, and then it gets all crazy here, Jeff.
Yeah, Dean Wilson comes by his teammate, clips him. That sets him back, but Wilson, 15, keeps the lead. But watch at the left of your screen, Wilson lands with the lead, puts the Kawasaki in the mud.
So he was way back. Blake Baggett inherits the lead, then he has problems. He crashes. That's going to leave Tyler Rattray in the #1 spot. We thought Baggett was out of this one. But late in the race, unbelievable speed, and he takes the lead for the second time.
Baggett's intensity could not be matched by anyone. 1-1 on the day for Blake Baggett.
And a dominant 1-1. Give you the results here from Moto 2. Baggett takes the win. Another solid day points-wise for Tyler Rattray with that consistent second-place finish. And Eli Tomac finally showing some of the speed we expected to see from him this year. Second half of that moto takes a solid third. There's your top 10. Well done by Malcolm Stewart. Get that top 10. And let's go down to Aaron with our winner.
I think you guys said it best. Nobody was going to be able to match Blake Baggett's intensity. But Blake, we saw the aftermath with your visor after the crash, but take us through what happened.
You know, the track's so slippery that just got away from me. I seen I had 10 seconds, and I was just like, all right, be smooth, be smart. Got on the gas a little hard, it broke loose. High-sided big over here, and the banners got my face, my shoulder, and you know, just got up and fought it back. But I got to give it over to my team, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit, Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, Alpine Star, Traxxas, Volcom, Vans, my mom, my dad, my trainer, Alan Baker, and my girlfriend.
Congratulations on your hard charge today.
Blake Baggett's got the win. We'll show you some of the other races where he's going to try to win races. We will be in Budds Creek in Mechanicsville, Maryland next weekend, not too far from here in Pennsylvania. Then we go mile high up at Lakewood, Colorado, just outside of Denver. Then it's Red Bud in Buchanan, Michigan on July 4th weekend, followed by the infamous Sand Track in Millville, Minnesota. All the 250 class coverage, of course, right here on Speed. That's our Toyota moving forward schedule. Fans are gathering down by the podium to congratulate our top riders today, and we will talk to more of them when we return. Tyler Rattray didn't get the win today, but he's got to feel good about his position in points, that's for sure. We'll be right back.
24 hours of Le Mans.
It's coverage of the Lucas Oil AMA. Welcome back to Southwestern Pennsylvania, round 3, the Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship in the 250 class. Here are your overall results for the day. Easy math, Blake Baggett wins race 1 and race 2, so that gives him the overall weekend victory. Rattray and Tomac up on the podium, and the big difference, Rattray makes up 7 points, as you can see on Dean Wilson, giving him the points lead. Let's send it down to Aaron with Tyler Rattray.
Tyler Rattray may have not left here with the victory, but you're leaving here with the points lead plate. Tyler, what does this moment mean to you at this point with three rounds under the book?
Oh man, it's still early, you know. When I won my World Championship in Europe, we changed the plate, I think, maybe 4 or 5 times. So it's still early on in the championship, and I'm not really worried about the red plate. Just trying to get up here every weekend. You know, Blake wrote an awesome second moto in there, and I struggled a bit. You know, I think I struggled the whole day on this track. Last year was obviously a lot better for me, but no complaints. I still came away with a second, which I'm happy with, and I just want to thank everyone from the guys from Monster Energy, Factory Kawasaki, Parts Unlimited, Thor, my stepdad, my mom, my wife, and my baby. Thank you.
Show you the series standings. It is still very close. See Wilson only 2 back. Baggett, after even the bad race at round 2 at Freestone, he's in the hunt. Tomac, Cunningham, top 5. Let's send it back down in the box with Aaron.
Eli Tomac said he was extremely frustrated that he had wasted just too much time, Eli, making that pass. How did you feel about your second moto?
It definitely went better. Once again, I had to work my way up from like a top 10 start. And yeah, I mean, third place is pretty good. I'm excited just to get on the box, but I definitely can get better.
Download the free Speed app for your phone. Keep speed at your fingertips and fuel your passion for racing between events with Speed on your phone. Get the latest stats, results, and news as soon as they become available. Download the app from iTunes or the Android market now. Well, we're not taking a break in this tour for a while now. We're going to go 4 straight weekends at races, so it's a grind. We'll be at Budds Creek in Mechanicsville, Maryland next week. Saturday night, we'll have your 250 class coverage, of course, on Speed. And we'll just keep on going. We'll be in Colorado, we'll be in Michigan, and then we'll be in Minnesota. And the first motos, of course, are live on Fuel and on AllySports.com every week. So not too hard to find the coverage of the toughest motocross racing series in the world. All right, so there it is. Blake Baggett has won both motos, a dominant performance today, and he is starting to inch closer to this series points lead. Great racing from the hills of High Point. We'll be racing in the hills of Budds Creek next time, so don't miss that. For Aaron Bates and Jeff Emig, I'm Jason Weimer. Thanks for joining us for the Rockstar Energy Drink High Point National. Congratulations to our dominant winner today, Blake Baggett.